As of this morning, North Carolina has 17 confirmed deaths due to this storm. We mourn the loss of each and every life, and our hearts go out to their friends and their family. We have more than 1,200 road closures, including 356 primary roads. Our major north-south connector, Interstate 95, and portions of Interstate 40 remain closed to traffic. As of this morning, a little more than 484,000 people in North Carolina don't have power. Even though the rain is moving away, the ground is saturated, and even a small amount of rain can cause flash flooding. First responders have reported rescuing and evacuating over 2,600 people and over 300 animals from flooded areas so far, and rescues are ongoing. We have been able to get supplies through to many in need, including some communities that are surrounded by water. 23 truckloads of food, water, and supplies made it into Wilmington this morning, and other communities facing this are being addressed as well. We have requested, and FEMA has added, more counties to our major federal disaster declaration request. Bladen, Columbus, Cumberland, Duplin, Harnett, Lenoir, Jones, Robeson, Sampson, and Wayne counties have been added for a total now of 18 counties. We've requested that Hoke and Scotland counties be added and know that there will be more counties added. Right now, the Black, Little, Lumber, Cape Fear, and Neuse rivers are inundated with major flooding, and 13 more rivers are forecast to reach major or moderate flood stage. Please don't make yourself someone who needs to be rescued. Again, stay off the roads in much of the state, especially south of US 64 and east of Interstate 73-74. Many roads in our state are still at risk of floods. Roads you think are safe can be washed away in a matter of minutes. And if you must drive, don't drive on flooded roads. Just a few inches of water can sweep your car away. And again, don't drive around barricades. Be alert for sudden flooding and be prepared to get to higher ground quickly. Pay close attention to flash flood warnings and follow local evacuation orders. I tell you, there are so many heroes throughout our state to thank this morning. The rescuers who are risking their lives to pull people from floodwaters, the law enforcement, firefighters, first responders who are working around the clock, the nurses, the doctors, the pilots, the utility workers, all the volunteers. From the people of North Carolina, I say thank you. We remain grateful to the volunteers who are providing safe shelter for the more than 14,000 evacuees in 110 shelter locations across the state right now. Kristen and I visited the new shelter at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill yesterday, and it was encouraging to see the resilience of the volunteers and the residents there. To the members of the media, I want to thank you for the work that you are doing in getting critical information out to people. We appreciate that. Please continue this message. We've been preparing for and living through Hurricane Florence for more than a week now, but this remains a significant disaster that affects much of our state. The next few days will be long ones as the flooding continues. Our emergency management experts and thousands of rescue and recovery personnel are on the job. This is what we prepared for. And we have new supplies and personnel coming in every hour. We, the people of North Carolina, will get through this. If you have an emergency, dial 911. For other help or resources or information that you might need, dial 211, or for the deaf and hard of hearing, 888-892-1162 for those using video relay services. And I'm thankful for Monica McGee providing American Sign Language as interpretation. I'll now recognize Mike Sprayberry.
Thank you, Governor. My name is Mike Sprayberry, the Director of the North Carolina Division of Emergency Management. Good afternoon. The State Emergency Operations Center remains activated at a level 1 on day 8 of the Hurricane Florence response. I want to thank all of our federal, state, private sector, and volunteer partners, but I want to especially thank our local partners at the county and municipality level. We know that you have borne the brunt of the Hurricane Florence response, and you're still right there in it at this moment, so thank you so much. Here at the state, we continue to be engaged in large-scale search and rescue operations, and we continue to push out resources like commodities, generators, firefighters, law enforcement, North Carolina National Guard, Highway Patrol to our county partners as requested. There are over 1,200 first responders performing wide area searches with 233 boats throughout the state. There's also major aviation search and rescue operations being conducted, as well as general support aviation operations to bring in supplies for places that are cut off by water. We're also currently working with our outstanding volunteer partners from the American Red Cross, the North Carolina Baptist Men and Women, and the Salvation Army to set up mass feeding kitchens. We expect to be serving hot meals today. Shelters also remain a top priority, as you heard the governor say, and we are engaged in mass sheltering operations with approximately 14,000 occupants. We're also working with our federal partners to make sure we've got good temporary housing solutions once we move folks out of shelters and we find that we have a need for it. As a reminder, it's important to note that all 911 centers are operational. When you call, you may be answered from a 911 center in another county, but responders will be dispatched from your county as normal. This is how the 911 backup system works. As you know, significant flooding is occurring and will continue to impact in the coming days. That's important to remember. Even when you see the sun out, rivers are still cresting. We urge all of our residents to log in to our flood inundation mapping and alert network, known as FEMA, at FIMAN at nc.gov. Again, that's FIMAN.nc.gov to see which roads and structures will be affected by flooding. Users can sign up to be alerted in this system by text or email when rivers begin to rise. As always, please make sure you follow the guidance of your local officials. That's so important. And stay tuned to your local media to ensure situational awareness. Thank you so much for your support of the North Carolina State Emergency Response Team. Thank you very much, Governor.
You have been listening to an update from Governor Roy Cooper and the North Carolina Emergency Management Director, Mike Sprayberry. The governor passing along some information to people. The floodwaters are rising. Stay off the roads, especially south of US 64. The governor also saying that 17 confirmed deaths in North Carolina as a result of the storm. More than 1,200 road closures. 356 of those roads are primary roads. I-95, I-40, as we've been telling you that for a while. 484,000 people are still without power across our state. 2,600 people have been rescued. 300 animals have been rescued. 23 truckloads of supplies made it into Wilmington this morning. And 14,000 evacuees are in 110 shelters across the state. The governor and the First Lady of North Carolina going to visit some people at the UNC Chapel Hill shelter.
We will continue to monitor this news conference. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. Much more coverage right after this. And welcome back. We continue our look at what Florence continues to do to North Carolina. These are live pictures from our sister station WSOC in the Charlotte area. And you see that truck has gone over a road that has been just destroyed by flooded waters. We understand that the truck driver is okay.
But these pictures, as soon as the camera on that chopper pulls out of this truck, are just devastating. You see the road has just collapsed into rubble, and then the truck, which it's hard to believe that the driver is okay. Look at what happened to that truck.
That's amazing. Also, another story we're following, the Charlotte Observer is reporting that the Brunswick nuclear plant, about 30 miles south of Wilmington, has declared a state of emergency as the 1,200-acre complex remains cut off by floodwaters and is inaccessible to outside personnel. They've declared an unusual event. That's the lowest level of nuclear emergency. They're required to do that, according to NRC spokesman, Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Apparently, things are stable, no threat to the public. The power grid is safe. But there are some workers there from Duke Energy at the nuclear power plant who are stranded. They can't get to them by land. We'll continue to monitor that one.
Okay, let's go to Don in the First Alert Storm Center. Boy, what a day it's been. When we thought Florence was getting out of here, and she just is not.
No, not fast enough anyway. I mean, we are seeing less and less in the way of heavy rain showers, so that's good news. The only flash flood warnings, I want to show these to you. We only have a few of them now. We have the National Weather Service extending their flash flood warning for Granville, Person, and Vance counties until 2:15 this afternoon. Durham County is also under that flash flood warning, in northern parts of Wake County under a flash flood warning from the earlier rains, and then Mecklenburg County also under that flash flood warning. Let's take a look at our river warnings. These are the latest updates, the 12 o'clock numbers just coming in. We'll show you all the numbers we have so far. In Fayetteville, the Cape Fear is at 35 feet. Its flood stage is now up to 52 feet, continuing to rise. Not quite as high a forecast as yesterday. Still, though, this would be 3 feet above Matthew. Manchester, the Little River at Manchester. I had somebody write and say, well, there are several little rivers. I know. This is the one at Manchester because I've had several people ask about it because it's going to double almost. It's a record flood event now at 33.8 feet, and it's expected to top out later today at 34.4 feet. The Haw River near Bynum, they have actually upped this forecast now. Flood stage is 11 feet. It's now at 15.2. It's expected to now go above 17 feet. So they've actually increased the forecast on that flood. The Deep River at Moncure, 9 feet. Now it's at 14 feet, and they've upped that one to 16 feet for a crest. And then as we look into the Neuse River, Smithfield, 18.9 feet. It is cresting now, expected to go down later on today. So that's some good news along the Smithfield, the Neuse River at Smithfield. Goldsboro, 18 feet. The flood stage, it's now at 25, expected to gradually continue to rise all the way through Wednesday. Let's go from the Neuse into the Cape Fear and Lumberton Rivers. Cape Fear at Lowington, they've actually upped this forecast a little bit. Its flood stage is at 14. It's now at 19.2, expected to crest near 25 feet. And Lumberton, 13 feet. Now it's at 24 feet. It's expected to crest sometime later on today. I didn't get a graphic made for it, but the Eno River at Durham has crested. It shot up quickly today. It almost made its record flood. It finished just below it. Crested just below its record flood level. It is in major flood in Durham and also back toward Huckleberry, and that is going to continue to slowly go down now. The Eno River is starting to recede. We've seen some heavy rain, though, across the region. Live look at First Alert Doppler. Up in Chase City, Mecklenburg County, we had a tornado warning earlier at the very edges of our radar. I've heard from a couple of my viewers, faithful viewers I hear from up there, that there are reports of a tornado touchdown. There were some folks trapped in a structure, so we're working to get more information on that up toward Chase City. But again, they had a tornado warning going on up there earlier today. Now we slide south. We had heavy rain through Durham County and Granville County that has since slid over into Vance County and Warren County and pressing out of here. Wake Forest has some heavy rain east side of Raleigh. This just moved through southeast Raleigh, working its way up 401 through Wake County. And then let's go back to that. I think I saw some heavier showers too on this side. We'll look over here. Looks like western Wake County had a little bit isolated shower activity right toward the end of the loop, and it started to die out. Now we'll zoom out, get a better look down into Edgecombe, Nash, Wilson counties, all those showers lifting off to the north, and then down into Wayne County. You're seeing some showers working out as well. Live look into downtown Raleigh. Temperature right now is at 83, 77% humidity. South wind at 20. Looking live into Durham. City of Medicine checks in at 84 with a southwest wind at 4, but there's the number. Look at that precipitation, 4.70 inches of rain since midnight. We're seeing those pop-up showers. We'll see them bloom across the region. Most of the high instability now sliding up to the north, wrapping around this tropical depression, Florence, as it pulls away, trying to wrap some cooler air in, but we're in the warm, moist tropical air, and we'll stay there today. Your first alert predictor forecast model does show some showers and maybe even a thunderstorm firing as we go toward this evening. I don't think it'll be severe, but you could see hit or miss showers really through the afternoon. Your forecast looks like this for today. We're seeing temperatures in this noon hour in the upper 70s. As we go into the afternoon, we'll see those numbers into the 80s, 81 degrees, breezy with some scattered showers around, and also the sun breaking out in spots. Your 7-day forecast powered by AccuWeather tomorrow, 87 degrees with a few showers and storms. Wednesday, 86, Thursday, 84, Friday, 86, and first day of fall is on Saturday.
I like how that sounds. And to see the sunshine.
I know it'll be great.
Thank you, Don.
Sure.
All right. More live team coverage of Florence right after this.
Well, many residents in Cumberland County are being advised to stay off the roads. We just heard the governor ask people to do it.
Anthony Wilson is live right now, and he has more about that. Anthony?
Some people insist on doing this when they roll up on a water-covered roadway. Others like to hang out in the water. It's a familiar sight here in Hope Mills, and you're looking at the legacy of Florence's high winds and heavy rain.
Floodwaters coming down from the dam, and as you can see, it's not completely overtaken the bridge, but we're cautiously optimistic.
Hope Mills Town Manager Melissa Adams issued a heads-up statement overnight,
urging the citizens to just please stay off the road. If you don't have a reason to be on the road, if you're not going to and from work or a medical issue, we've had a lot of people out just looking.
That may be easier said than done. The high water's attracting the curious as well as people like Thomas Jarrett. He's seen worse during his long life.
A lot worse. It goes all the way up to where those signs are at the top of the hill. And that little store right there completely got covered with water last time.
I understand during the last big hurricane that the water rose to the level of those traffic signals. Is that true?
That's true. It was pretty deep. And that lasted for weeks.
But if you do live in Hope Mills and you, like Mr. Jarrett, are familiar with the area, don't come out here. We've said it many times. Turn around, don't drown. You could definitely get in trouble here, so avoid the area. You don't want a shock from a downed, wet utility line.
This has got to come down before the power company can get back in here and re-energize it. We've got to begin cleanup, debris, and unnecessary road traffic is just going to be a hindrance. We need to give our first responders, our police, our fire, and our public works, give them the room to be able to get out and do what they need to do without having to worry about people unnecessarily on the road.
You can always visit when the water's back to normal. And we're back live now. You see the barricades at the end of the road. This, believe it or not, is the same road we showed you during that story. Most of the video you saw there shot hours earlier. So though it appears that things are better because portions of the road are now drying out, let me show you. Just because we're standing here on dry pavement doesn't mean we're out of the woods yet. Right over here, Jeff, you can see that the water still is rushing. It's just a little below the surface of the road. So if it starts raining hard the way it's been for the past couple of days, it could very well rise again. This road and others could very well be overwashed again. So pay attention to what the governor said. Stay off the roads if possible and give those first responders and repair people room to do their jobs. We are live at Hope Mills. Anthony Wilson, ABC 11 Eyewitness News.
Anthony, thank you. Boy, it's gotten better.
It is, but still more than 1,200 roads in North Carolina are impassable or closed. More news after this.
Well, new at noon, New Hanover County officials say a person died early this morning at a shelter. A person was found unresponsive at the shelter at Hogarth High School.
The high school is currently open as a shelter. The cause of death has not been determined.
Serious flooding continues to be an issue. Our Anna Rivera takes us live to Leland, west of Wilmington.
That's right. We are currently on 17. This is the area that you would take from Leland to Charlotte, and it's very flooded. You can't get through this way. And you just had your grandbaby be brought over here.
I'm surprised. I thought another guy was going to do it, but the sheriff's department did it. That's the ticket. They good, and then they bad. But 90% of the time, the police department's good.
How excited are you right now? I know they were stuck in a shelter.
I'm tickled to death. What you talking about? I want to cry so bad. I ain't gonna lie, but I ain't.
How amazing is this that you had people helping you guys out? You had another boat coming to get your family too.
I can't give them enough money. I tried to give them money, they wouldn't give it back to me. That makes you feel good. That makes you feel like there's people out here that loves you instead of just want to use you. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where the people in North Carolina, they come together. Stuff like this happens, it ain't one for all and all for one. It's everybody is for help you. If y'all were stuck, we'd help y'all. Just like that man's taking off in that sheriff's department truck, he didn't have to do that with my grandbaby.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dean. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys get home and get there safely. This is that boat taking off again. They've been going back and forth, picking up people on the other side of this massive flooding here on 17. Again, this is a way that you would take to Charlotte on the way to Myrtle Beach as well. So just some really wonderful stuff we're seeing over here. Barbara, John.
Wow, that's the kind of boat you see in the Everglades in Florida.
Yeah, and his enthusiasm, you can't help but smile. He was about to hug Anna. Nobody else over there paying people to rescue him, and they wouldn't take his money. Makes people feel that they love you. That's so sweet.
Well, Florence refuses to leave our state without throwing one last punch.
Yeah, it was a punch. Just ahead, the water rescues in Durham due to flash flooding in the Bull City. Check that out.
The only station with 3 newsrooms in downtown Raleigh, downtown Durham, and downtown Fayetteville. ABC11 Eyewitness News continues.
And what was once Hurricane Florence, now just a tropical depression, but still just as dangerous as it ever was.
We have crews tracking the aftermath of Hurricane Florence in some of the hardest hit areas from the North Carolina coast to the Sandhills and the Triangle. But we begin with breaking news right now in Chapel Hill. An entire shopping center is underwater.
Julie Wilson joins us live at Eastgate Mall. Julie.
Yeah, this sign here, wet floor, is a little bit of an understatement here at Birkenstock Feet First, because this whole shop is just flooded. I don't know, an inch or so of water, and I was told the water has actually receded quite a bit. If you come around here, look at this water line here on this mailbox. You can see that it was up quite a bit here at the Eastgate Shopping Center in Chapel Hill. And then I want to swing around here. It's like the parking lot is just coated in a layer of mud. There's the handicap parking spot. You can just barely see the paint there. You can see half of it, and half of it's really cleared out from the water that is draining out of so many businesses here. You can see right here the force of that water draining out. It's a little bit more, it's stronger. But I was told, Jeff, if you want to go ahead and show this car over here, I was told that the water was up pretty close to the top of the car, if not over it earlier. The water, though, going down pretty quick here at the Eastgate Shopping Center in Chapel Hill. No doubt businesses, though, will have cleanup under their belt for the next several days. John and Barbara.
Well, that parking lot, gosh, you're right, is coated with mud and a lot of cleanup. Julie Wilson, thank you for that. Julie live in Chapel Hill. Well, there was pouring rain causing dangerous driving conditions and flooding, as you just saw in the Triangle, Durham, Chapel Hill.
You may have been awakened this morning by that torrential rainfall that fell. This tropical depression doesn't want to go away. Andrea Blanford's in the Breaking News Center with some water rescues in Durham. Andrea?
Yeah, John and Barbara, it was a very busy morning. There were several rescues reported across the Bull City this morning as floodwaters continue to cause issues along major roads. Our crew was there as first responders showed up for one of those water rescues. We actually had some video of the rescue at Sprint Avenue and Hillendale Road. 3 cars were submerged in rising water there. Durham police and fire and rescue prepared to paddle out to those drivers, putting life vests on them and using rafts to pull them to safety. You're seeing one area right here, a flooded parking lot at what looks like an apartment or condo complex there. All of this flooding and water rescues that had to take place this morning, a direct impact from Florence, as you can see, still causing problems in the Bull City on this Monday. Barbara?
Andrea, thank you. Well, now to the mandatory evacuation orders that are in place for communities in Cumberland County, Harnett County, and Hoke County. The number of people killed from Florence going up overnight. 17 deaths now have been attributed to the storm in North Carolina. And the latest one the governor talked about earlier, a 1-year-old who was swept away by floodwaters in Union County. That's the newest life lost in this tragedy. And days after the storm, people are still in desperate situations. The Coast Guard says that they've rescued 193 people and 91 pets since Hurricane Florence made landfall.
Power outages continue to be a big issue. Statewide, power outages as of 11 this morning, 308,852. That's down from more than 666,000. The highest concentration, New Hanover County, 79,000 people without power. That's down from 100,000. Brunswick, Carteret, Duplin, Cumberland, and Onslow counties also dealing with large areas without power.
Well, a North Carolina family prepares to bury their infant son.
Just ahead, the tales about one of the youngest victims of Hurricane Florence and how this child was killed.
Well, we are learning more about one of the youngest victims of Hurricane Florence.
A 3-month-old died when a tree fell on his home in Gaston County. Olin Gill says his wife Tammy was holding little Cade on the couch when they were struck by a tree. Cade had just turned 3 on Sunday, 3 months old. CPR was performed for about 30 minutes, but it was just too late.
Oh my goodness. Well, it was raining buckets in the Triangle overnight. This video is showing flooding around 5 o'clock this morning at the Brookwood condominiums on Estes Drive in Chapel Hill. This spot along the Boland Creek is known for rising water. Water went up to the front doors, but our crew on the scene at the time says none of the apartments have flooded, which is good news. ABC 11 Together is coordinating a fundraising effort to help thousands of people affected by Florence. You can text Florence to 90999 to make a $10 donation to the Red Cross relief efforts.
So many of you have been reaching out asking how to help. Well, we have details about how to donate and help storm victims on our website, abc11.com/together. You'll also find info there about shelters, how to get help from FEMA, and what counts as price gouging. We thank you for your generosity. Well, we had an interesting situation here during our morning news right here at ABC 11. We had a tornado warning right in downtown Durham, and we almost had to take cover.
I mean, in the rain on the roof, I've never in all my years here heard it that loud and that long.
It was a crazy morning. I mean, we had 7 different tornado warnings. On the morning shift before Hurricane Florence, I have had 4 active tornado warnings in 7 years. So, I mean, we've been pounding. And I want to show you, real quick, I want to show you guys some new perspective on a rising river. This is some drone video we just got in from Paul Jones, Pinnacle Eye Productions. This is Cape Fear River in Harnett County. It's drone video of the bridge in Irwin. It was taken around 10:15 this morning, and you can see the water almost up to the bridge right now, and it's still going up. That's the problem. We could see some of these Cape Fear River bridges go under, so people are getting across them right now. But honestly, the one in downtown Wilmington too could go under as well. So we'll have to watch that as we go through. They're both on. They're both on. Yeah, and I've got full batteries on them. Yeah, so sorry, they're checking on my microphones while I'm there. But it's amazing drone video, and you see, that's what I want you to see right there. Look at how the water goes back into the woods there. So you can't even see how far back in it's spreading. And unfortunately, I think that is still headed for Harnett County, Cumberland County, and also down into Hope County. We're seeing that kind of flooding as well. And thank you so much for sending in that drone video. Gives us a perspective of that water in the woods. Now, we're just showing you the flash flood warnings. There are flood warnings, and there are river flood warnings, and there are aerial flood warnings. The National Weather Service has about 5 different kinds of warnings. But the flash flood warnings are the ones that are the most imminent, and that means that you need to take shelter or go to higher ground immediately. We only have a couple of them now for Vance, Granville, Northern Wake County, Durham County, and Person County, and then Mecklenburg County up here. I couldn't get the map to work. It's been one of those kind of weekends. I know Mecklenburg County, we love you. We're glad you watch up there. You're also under a flash flood warning. I promise. Next time we have all these floods, you will be on there. All right, let's show you what's going on. Weather-wise, a look, Cape Fear River, Little River. These are the latest statistics I have from the Southeast River Forecast Center, the folks at the National Weather Service who monitor these rivers. Tar River, I've been asked a lot about today. You don't have to worry about the tar. The tar looking good. Cape Fear at Fayetteville. Flood stage 35, 52. This has gone up again. It's up to 52 now. Expected to crest 61.8. That's about a half a foot lower than yesterday, but it's still 3 feet above Matthew. Manchester, Little River at Manchester is already at 33. That is a new record for the Little River at Manchester. That is a new record flood, and it's still going to go up another foot by this afternoon. Haw River near Bynum, and also Haw River up in Alamance County. Both those places are in flood stage. Near Bynum, it's at 15.2. Not expected to crest until Tuesday. That has they've raised that amount. They've also raised the amount on the Deep River at Moncure. Flood stage is 9. It's now up to 14.7. Expected to crest at 16. The Noose at Smithfield is cresting right now. Should start to go back down as we go through the day. The Noose at Goldsboro not expected to crest until Wednesday with all the runoff. We are taking a look at what's happening as far as a live look into first alert radar. Just some showers now up around Chase City and Mecklenburg County. We'll start with you, Clarksville, on up to Chase City. We'll slide south. We do see a couple of showers for Warren County and Norlina. There's that flash flood watch that's in effect. And then let's go down into Durham and Wake Forest. You've got a few showers there. I'm going to step off real quick because I want to look up in the northeastern part. It's not quite built into this segment. I just want to make sure we're clear up there. So we got the showers working through. Let's zoom it out. Yeah, what we're seeing right now is up in Warren County. Spotty showers up around Roanoke Rapids. We'll zoom down into the Wilson area. You can see those showers right now. Wilson to Kinston pressing off to the south. And then we will see those showers continue to work through the afternoon. Just hit or miss showers. I think we're done with the major severe thunderstorms and things like that, but still the potential for some flash flooding up north with the rain. 86 degrees right now in downtown Raleigh outside our studios on Fayetteville Street. Dew points at 75, 70% humidity, south wind 13 miles an hour. Sunshine on the Bull City. Now that's good and bad. It's drying us out, but it's also adding to the humidity and the instability. So we're going to have to watch for that. 82, 79% humidity, north wind at 3. Florence's rain continues to fall, although the heaviest rain now is slid off to the south. We saw the showers pressing through Wilmington. Unfortunately, they are seeing showers down along the beaches. By the way, when we had the helicopter video and it was just starting to get into like Carolina Beach and those areas, and then we had to cut away for a tornado warning, I had some folks already write me and just on email saying, is there any way we can see the rest of that video? We know you had to go to the warning. Yes, you can. If you go to ABC11.com right now, it's got our chopper video of the coast all the way from Topsail on down to Carolina Beach. And that's on ABC11.com. It's on our homepage right now for that video. Let's zoom it out. You can see this cool air and dry air trying to wrap into Florence as it moves away. But unfortunately with us, it's still drawing up that warm, moist air. That'll keep the humidity on us. And with the heat and humidity in place, you could see a pop-up shower as we go through the afternoon. Just these hit or miss variety, and then one little piece of energy is going to work through here about 4, 5, 6 o'clock. As that line swings through, it will trigger a shower, so we will have to watch for that later today. And then tomorrow morning 5 a.m. it tries to show an isolated shower, but some relief on the way for tomorrow. Right now in the noon hour we're 79 degrees. We'll see those temperatures climbing into the 80s. We're going to stay breezy. I left showers in there. Many of you will not see rain this afternoon, but if you get under one, it could be a gusty wind across the area with a spotty shower. And then we'll see those temperatures across the region continuing to climb. 87 on Tuesday, 86 on Wednesday. We dry out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 88 degrees. First day of fall. And on your Sunday, 85. and could see a spotty shower Sunday into Monday. We'll have to wait and see on that frontal boundary, but we should get several days to dry out as we approach the start of fall.
We need every single day.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Don.
Yep.
All right. Our coverage continues right after this. Some exclusive video right now as the U.S. Army tours the damage Hurricane Florence left behind in North Carolina. Our 4 p.m. anchor Joel Brown is the only local media on this flight this afternoon with General Mark Milley. He's the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army. This is a little bit of the video that we were sent mid-flight. Now, Joel will bring us a live report later tonight on Eyewitness News. Should be fascinating.
All right, and while we're watching the floodwaters rise near rivers in central Carolina, this tropical depression is now moving across the North Carolina mountains. That means we could possibly see more flooding in the west, even some rock slides. The Rocky Broad River is already raging and the water's coming up over the road near Bat Cave. We're keeping an eye on this situation in Henderson County as we wait for the remnants of Hurricane Florence to leave our state.
Meanwhile, recovery efforts are underway in the east. Many folks are cleaning up after Florence ripped through New Bern and Wilmington. For now, our state hasn't really begun to see the extent of the damage or count up the lives forever changed by Florence.
And if the flooding threat from Florence wasn't enough, we've had multiple reports of tornado damage. Ed Crump is live in Elm City with, some pictures from earlier and some new pictures now. Ed, just unbelievable. We know one person you interviewed said that he heard our coverage this morning and had several minutes to get to safety.
Yes, and that helped, and he has family all over Elm City. I want to show you this. There's damage all over Elm City, but I want to start by saying nobody was injured, and it's unbelievably miraculous for many of them, especially at this house right here. This huge pine tree you see standing up right over there. You see the stump standing up. They just cut that away from this house right here. This crashed into this house around 7 o'clock this morning. The folks who live here, like the other man you talked about, got notices on their phones and they ran for a closet and jumped inside just in time when this tree hit the house. And what's really interesting about this is 9-year-old Taylor Barnes, who is with me now, was here at his grandmother's house last night, sleeping in that room. Tell me what happened, Taylor.
Well, I was sleeping in that room, and I had just woken up in 10 minutes after the tornado had hit.
So how did you know a tornado was coming?
Because we got the alerts on our phone.
And so what did you do then?
I ran and told my grandpa, and we went into the closet.
And your grandma was with you too?
Yes, sir.
Now I know, Grandma Susan Pittman, you've got to have some mixed emotions here. It's a house you've lived in for over 40 years. You were born and raised here in Elm City, and I know you hate seeing it in this condition, but
I'm glad that we're not hurt. This house can be replaced, and I'm very thankful that we had the hand of God on us this morning. I sure am. And that this little fellow was safe with us.
Well, that's the one thing I want to ask you about. I mean, I assume it's kind of a delayed effect. You see this, you think about it, and then all of a sudden you're thinking, my goodness, 10 minutes earlier he was in that room.
Yep.
Was it?
It's emotional, thinking about what could have been, but I'm so thankful for what has happened. I'm not worried about this house at all.
What about the stories of survival all around you here?
I know. It's like it skipped over but like one street, and then there's devastation on the other, maybe 2 or 3 blocks over. That's the way a tornado does.
Yeah. Now, back to the main storm before the tornado, did you all have power through this whole thing?
Yes. We still have power in this house. Power's still going in the house, but the areas around us are all out.
Yeah, I did notice some street flooding and all. That was from the tornado, not from the tornado, but from the hurricane, from Florence.
Well, it was, but it poured really hard here for a couple of hours this morning before this tornado ever struck. I mean, flood. Our backyard was flooded. We didn't get that during the hurricane.
Well, I can't tell you, in the midst of a tragic storm and all the tragedy we've heard, it's so nice to talk to people who survived. I'm grateful that you guys did okay. So, Barbara and John, again, another miraculous story of survival here in Elm City. We're very grateful for that, as we said. I did want to show you, if we got a second here, we've got a bunch of debris piled up here. This is from that tree. And as you look across the way over there, I don't know if you could see past that beige house, there's a splintered tree there that hit a home over there. We talked to a woman there. She ran and grabbed her children. Her husband also got the alert this morning, said there's a tornado coming, we need to get down. And she said, no, we got to grab the children. And she grabbed the children. The tree did hit their house. It did not come through the house. It damaged the roof, but they got out and everything was fine. And that's all I'm hearing from people all morning and all afternoon, is how grateful they are that nobody in Elm City was hurt by these tornadoes. And you've heard our meteorologists talk about it time and again, how storms like this spawn these little tornadoes. And most of them last only a few minutes, but that's all it takes to put somebody's life in jeopardy, as you can see right here with this tree inside this house. So as they stand here and cut away on this tree, we'll toss it back to you, John and Barbara. I don't know if you have any questions, but again, great stories of miraculous survival.
So glad to see that they're okay, grandmother and grandfather and grandson, because we've heard too many tragedies after this storm. So glad that they're doing okay.
And got that alert on their phone. We talk about that all the time, but it's important and it's free.
Yep.
All right, thanks, Ed.
Thank you.
The North Carolina Zoo is closed for cleanup and repair from Hurricane Florence. A decision about remaining closed or opening perhaps Tuesday will be announced sometime this afternoon.
All right, Anthony Wilson has been live for us in Cumberland County, and let's go to the latest from him. He has seen some flooded roads, and actually, if that's the road you were at before, it's gotten so much better, Anthony.
Yeah, it's a bit of an improvement, Barbara. The barricades remain here because the authorities really don't want you to go down here until they clear the area. But take a look. This is a road that was partially covered by some high water, some overwash earlier in the day caused by the remnants of Florence. But if you look to the left of your screen, you can see that in addition to the debris left for some trees, the water is still running fairly high. And that is what concerns authorities here, because it's just a little bit, maybe a few inches below the road surface. So a good rain or possibly some other event to bring a lot of water downstream down this creek could make it overwash again. And this is not the only place where they've had overwash issues today. They had a flash flood warning earlier for Hope Mills, and if you look down the street there where the water used to be, there are also the authorities talking about what we see here. These are some people who may live in the area, but they are also just kind of strolling along, taking pictures, as one does sometimes after these events. That said, the authorities are discouraging this kind of activity because they say you really never know what could happen. Now watch this. Now we are standing in front of the barriers. This guy just went around us, around the barricades. He's driving down there, and this is not advised, folks. I have no idea. Maybe he's just trying to get through. And he could have hit those people, for example. Look at the way he's driving. That's not a good move. And lucky for those folks, they were alert and got out of the way. But that's the kind of behavior that they are discouraging, whether there's water on the road or not. You can't time these things. Like we cued this guy to come through here to demonstrate what you shouldn't do. But we appreciate what he did, even if we don't appreciate the way he did it. He just showed you what you're supposed to avoid. And again, the authorities say stay away from these roads when you see these barricades, especially if there's water on them, because things could go wrong in a hurry. We are standing under some fairly cloudy skies, even though it's kind of blue. Over on that side, out of camera range, it's still looking gray. So we could get more rain. If that happens, the water could rise again, and we'll be right back where we showed you earlier today. So bottom line, watch out for standing water if you see it. And if you can possibly avoid driving through here, the authorities say let the people who are professionals, the first responders, the people who are trying to repair things, save lives and do their jobs. John and Barbara.
And in front of the television cameras too. I mean,
bold.
just, you know.
Did you see that?
Oh yeah. You know.
Well, yeah, Anthony, maybe you better stand out the way,
Yes,
or else they may run you over.
Yes,
I am
Anthony.
getting out of the way now. That's right.
Yes,
Yeah, but thanks.
SMH, Anthony. I saw your head move.
You got it.
SMH.
Thank you very much. But, you know, in all seriousness, one of the fatalities that we had with the result of this storm was, according to authorities, a mother driving around a barricade.
Yeah.
She got stuck in high water and she lost her baby. That just happened over the past 48 hours as a result.
She tried
went
to
around the barricades, officials say, and she almost lost her life herself, but her baby's gone.
She tried to hold on to the baby and lost grip, and then they lost the baby and finally found it.
So sad. All right.
Yeah, it's awful.
Well, now to the devastation from Florence. The system, just a tropical depression now, but still causing a lot of issues across the Carolinas. Governor Cooper warning it has never been more dangerous than it is right now.
Yeah, the storm has left at least 17 people dead, forced more than 900 rescues, and much of the Carolinas are under flash flood watches or warnings, and the worst, they say, is yet to come in some areas. Here's Amy Robach.
On the fourth day of Florence's fury, the unrelenting task of rescuing the stranded and those whose lives are at risk is more crucial than ever. Rescue teams from as far as Los Angeles pulling drivers from submerged cars, as helicopters race to cities almost completely cut off by rising waters. We joined a Coast Guard rescue team as they set out to help those still trapped.
With so many roads flooded and impassable in this area, these Coast Guard helicopters become an absolute lifeline for people who have medical emergencies in the storm zone.
This woman telling me she is suffering from appendicitis and couldn't leave her flooded home. Another man desperately in need of oxygen. Animals too being pulled to safety. These dogs were stranded in the rising water, their dramatic rescue caught on camera with little time to spare. Overnight, officials believe those floodwaters are to blame for this train pushed off its tracks with a payload of hazardous material. Over 2 feet of rain has fallen and no relief in sight.
That's enough to cause flooding in areas that have never flooded before. Floodwaters are still raging across parts of our state, and the risk to life is rising with the angry waters.
With one dam in Fayetteville already failing, spilling millions of gallons of water rushing into streets and homes. Nearly 700,000 people left without power as homeowners start returning to assess the catastrophic damage to their properties. One man just getting over the damage imposed by Hurricane Matthew 2 years ago.
My family had been here since the 60s. Never seen any sort of flooding like this until Floyd. And we thought, well, that's a 500-year flood. Now it seems the 500-year floods come every other year. How do you plan for that?
But government officials warning the worst is yet to come.
If you are refusing to leave during this mandatory evacuation, then you need to notify your legal next of kin, because the loss of life is very, very possible.
And that was Amy Robach reporting unbelievable scenes there, especially the fact that someone would leave their dogs.
Yeah, a lot of
locked
people
up
commenting
outside.
on that video, which went viral. Those dogs left caged up. The water was rising. Fortunately, rescuers got to them just in time.
I don't understand it.
Well, a viewer sent us this video showing a brand new drone video of the Cape Fear River in Wilmington. This is near Keith Hills Road off of Highway 210. You see, it's almost up to the bridge.
Yeah. A viewer also sent us the video of the Eno River, which is rising as well. And you can see through this video here the rippling streams and Seven Oaks Road. This happening in Durham.
Let's show you some more flooding. This time, Wilson KK LaCole sharing these pictures with us. Her street, she says, covered, and that water is creeping closer and closer to homes and driveways.
And Todd McFall sharing these photos from Old Hillsborough Road in Orange County. This street under a deep layer of water as well.
Here's some new drone video from the American Red Cross, and it shows how parts of Fayetteville are looking right now. Some parts of downtown Fayetteville flooded out. Festival Park underwater.
Yes, unbelievable. People from across the country are actually here in North Carolina helping others in need.
Yeah, this is a good thing to talk about. Morgan Norwood talked to the American Red Cross who were staging at Fayetteville. Morgan?
American Red Cross crews from all over the country, Texas, Minnesota, you name it, loading up right now, taking these supplies to the hardest hit areas impacted by Hurricane Florence. And these are the volunteers that are putting our community back together. The American Red Cross Disaster Relief has teams positioned all across the state from all across the country.
Kentucky, Iowa, Tucson, Arizona.
From water to MREs, plates, cutlery, you name it, anything that these shelters are going to need to survive the next couple of days or so, the Red Cross is supplying it. If you see a Red Cross member out and about in your community, do me this one favor, hug them, thank them, because they're getting Fayetteville, the Sandhills, and the entire state back on its feet. And as you can see, these are just some of the hundreds of volunteers positioned across the state that have dedicated their time to helping those in need. In Fayetteville, I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC11 Eyewitness News.
Appreciate them more than they know, yes. Well, Durham schools are also in session today, and a bus driver there made a wise decision for her and her students.
She decided, as Julie Wilson tells us, not to go through a flooded street.
A bus driver with Durham Public Schools making a really smart decision to turn around and not cross what we're told is called Mud Creek, which is right down there. You can see the water rushing. When that bus driver went to turn around, got stuck right here in a resident's ditch. They told me they've been out here for a little while watching this all happen. We are told that the kids on board are safe. But again, that bus driver here with Durham Public Schools trying to turn around to avoid water over the road. They're in Mud Creek on Pickett.
Wilson there. You know, some of our viewers have wondered how Julie is getting everywhere. She was at Atlantic Beach, she's rescuing a dog in New Bern, she's in Orange County and Chatham County. She's our superwoman.
She has energy and she doesn't drink coffee, which is strange to me.
But yeah, she does excellent work. All right, another man who's been very busy is Don Schwinneker.
All right, guys, and we are seeing a couple of flash flood warnings still in our northern counties. Live look at the warnings right now, and you can see those flash flood warnings in effect up to the north. Some river flood warnings down south. We're taking a look at the flash flood warnings in effect through Person County, Granville, Vance counties into Durham County and into northern Wake County. Those run as we go through the afternoon. We look at the latest river flood warnings. We're looking at Fayetteville flood stage now at 52 feet for the Cape Fear. It's expected to go to 61.8 feet on Tuesday. It's a little down from the forecast yesterday, but we still expect that to keep climbing. Manchester, the flood stage is at 18. We're at 33 now for the Little River. This is a new record flood for the Little River at Manchester, and it's still on its way up, could go up another half a foot. Let's go from there to the Haw River near Bynum, 11 feet now, 15.2 on Tuesday, 17.2. Moncure, 9 feet flood stage. It's at 14.7 now, expected to go to 16. So even though the sun's coming out and we're seeing rain, you might be thinking the only river we have, well, Tar River is not a problem, but the only river we have in these graphics right here that's starting to recede is the Neuse at Smithfield. Everything else is still going up. The Neuse at Smithfield's at its crest right now, expected to start slowly going down over the next couple of days. The Neuse at Goldsboro, flood stage is at 18 feet. We still have 7 feet. We're 7 feet above that. Still have another foot to go, and not until Wednesday. How about if we go from the Neuse to the Cape Fear at Wilmington, 14-foot flood stage, 19.2. It continues to climb. It is forecast to go a little higher now, 24.9 feet for the crest sometime tomorrow. And on the Lumberton, the Lumber River is at its crest right now, expected to stay there throughout the day and into tonight. We are seeing some pockets of rain work through, nothing severe, thank goodness. No warnings to tell you about right now as far as thunderstorm or tornado warnings, but showers from Chase City to Clarksville down towards South Hill, Virginia. And we look at our northern tier counties, spotty showers around from Roxborough on over into Granville County and Vance County, some spotty showers. Durham County had some showers pass through still. One right on top of us right now with the radar. You can see it passing through. We'll zoom out and show you some of the rest of the region. A live look off toward Edgecombe County. Some showers working through, just a quick heavy burst of showers out by Tarboro and on south into Wilson County. Thunderstorms, the only thunderstorms we're seeing right now is they're down toward Wallace along I-40, Clinton and eastern Sampson County with a little bit of shower activity going on. Live look into downtown Raleigh. Temperature right now is 86, dew points at 75, 70% humidity, south winds 13 miles an hour. Looking live into Durham, this is crazy. This is 83 degrees with a southwest wind at 4, and this is a live look. We've got a shower over one part of Durham and the other part of Durham, not seeing any rain right now. We look at Florence. If Florence is back here, we'll take a better look at it in a moment, but notice the flow of everything out of the south and west. So all this warm, moist air, both from the ocean and also from all the flooded areas down in South Carolina. There's a lot of moisture in the air. It's very warm. It's very sticky down in South Carolina, and it's pulling that warm, moist air up into us, keeping the humidity up. As that's cool, get some cool air wrapped in, you get a little bit of instability. Pretty strong line of showers back here toward the Triad as well. But that's all lifting off to the north and shouldn't be a factor in our weather until later today. We might see some of that swing through. Now, Florence is moving away. The center of Florence now over Charleston or Huntington, West Virginia, kind of in that area, basically the Ohio River Valley there. And then that's going to continue to lift north. It's going to draw the moisture across us today. That'll work through after today. It starts to suck in some of that cooler air. Your first alert predictor forecast model will run this ahead. By about 8 o'clock tonight, a couple of spotty showers. You saw as that work through, it's just these little hit or miss little dots kind of showing up. At exactly 8 o'clock tonight, will it be raining right there south and west of Hope County? Probably not. But when we see these little spots, the models are good at telling us about timing and telling us when we see widespread rain or just hit or miss showers. They're not always the best at telling where just yet, but it's still, they're getting better and better. And I do think we'll see these spotty showers around as we go through the afternoon. They shut off in the overnight. 7 a.m. tomorrow, it does try to develop a shower up around Mecklenburg County that sits. And then as we go through the day tomorrow, we'll see cloudy skies, some of that moisture working through, maybe a little fog in spots in the morning. And then all of that moisture still triggers one more shower possible as we go through tomorrow afternoon. Eventually, though, it pulls out of here. And notice by Wednesday morning, sunshine, and we'll see dry conditions Wednesday, Thursday into Friday. For today, we'll see those temperatures across the area climbing 80 degrees around lunchtime, and then as we go into the afternoon, we'll be in the low 80s, breezy with some scattered showers, some sunshine, some clouds, a little bit of everything around this afternoon. 7-day forecast powered by AccuWeather tomorrow. Back into the 80s, 87 degrees on Tuesday, Wednesday 86, Thursday 84, Friday 86. And then Saturday is the first day of fall. We celebrate fall in the weather department on September 1st. We look at months, not dates. And so September, October, November are our fall in the weather department. And then winter's right around the corner. And then we'll be back here for a winter storm. Hopefully not one that lasts this long.
Okay, could you just take it one step at a time, Mr. Man?
I'm just kidding.
Okay.
First day of fall, we're actually in the upper 80s, so it's going to feel like summer.
Let's just enjoy the fall.
Yeah.
Here's something interesting. Ginger Z is the ABC chief meteorologist, our friend. She tweeted out the highest rain total for North Carolina from this storm, 35.93 inches near Elizabethtown, Bladen County. That breaks the record for highest rain total from a tropical cyclone for our state.
Wow.
And it was at 30 earlier this week, but we knew it would go up.
Yeah.
And Bladen County, I mean, we've seen Doppler radar estimates over 2 or 3 days in Bladen County that showed 2 feet of rain in a day or two.
Wow.
That's just crazy
So
to
this
measure
is nearly
rain
3 feet of rain.
Feet instead of inches.
And the Triangle got their dose this morning.
We really did. Durham
It's
today picking
pounded.
up 3 inches in just over 2 hours.
Wow, it was
All right.
just nuts. Thank you.
Sure.
And check this out, a spot notorious for flooding in Durham, speaking of which. This is the former Nana's restaurant. Water gushing from there right onto University Drive, as we've seen many times in the past, actually.
I got an email from a woman who lives right across, and she showed me her yard. It looked like a lake, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, more flooding on Fayetteville and Pilot Streets in Durham. This is near the Food Lion, and goodness gracious, you can't even go through there. So a lot of scenes played out like this morning as we just got pounded by rain in Durham.
And we saw this one gentleman trying to push the water out of his business. The rain from Florence still causing some problems well into the morning in the Bull City. He had quite the task there.
All right, let's go to Elena Athens. She is live for us in Cumberland County. I know they gave a word of warning, Cumberland County officials, City of Fayetteville officials saying if you're close to an area that's going to flood, you need to get out. And Elena, are you saying some people are just refusing to do that?
Well, there have been a lot of evacuations, but it is so hard to move around Cumberland County right now, where so many people are being urged to get to higher ground. We've showed you the flooded out streets, but let me show you what happens when there is a roadway that is actually open. You can see this road just clogged with cars and trucks, as well as emergency vehicles. This is Rockfish Road. The cars that you see coming towards you in your direction, that truck right there, that is heading out of Hope Mills. The folks who are coming in the opposite direction on the left side of your screen, they perhaps are coming from the Rayford area, but there has been so much traffic just on this particular road, because this is one of the few areas where it is passable. There's not standing water, and you can just see how many people are converging on this particular roadway. I have to tell you, we are trying to make our way to Lumberton. We started that journey at 9 o'clock this morning in Raleigh, so it has taken the better part of 4 hours, and we're only in the Hope Mills area right now, but we are trying to get to Lumberton, where not so long ago I had the opportunity to speak with the emergency management director. He's saying that the river is expected to crest today, and they are anticipating that the water will linger, stay there for 6 days straight. He is very concerned considering what that city has seen during Hurricane Matthew, and actually after that storm, FEMA provided funding to build a floodgate system. So there are public work crews that are in the process of building that, and then now we have this storm system of Florence that is coming through and expected to cause a great deal of damage as well as flooding. I understand there are several rescue crews on standby right now in Lumberton. Lumberton has not only its own rescue crew that has helped out in other disaster efforts such as Hurricane Katrina, but I also understand that FEMA also has swiftwater rescue crews there right now stationed in Lumberton, and other organizations are also lending their services. There have been 1,100 evacuations in Lumberton. At first, officials were encouraging people to leave, but now there is this mandatory evacuation ahead of that river rising. But again, we're giving you another live look here on Rockfish Road, where there has just been a heavy stream of traffic. This is one of only a few roads that we have seen that folks are able to drive and not meet those barriers, those gates, or floodwaters. So that's what we're seeing right now out here in Cumberland County, not far from Fayetteville, just south of that, here in just outside of Hope Mills area. We're live in Cumberland County. Elena Athens, ABC11 Eyewitness News.
All right, Elena, thank you.
A long line of traffic, both directions.
Yes.
And if the flooding threat from Florence wasn't enough, we had multiple reports of tornado damage. I think only maybe 1 or 2 confirmed tornadoes this morning. One of them confirmed was in Elm City in Wilson County. Let's go back to Ed Crum for a live update.
Hey, John and Barbara, we're going to take you for a little walk, and we're going to start on this end of town where you see this oak tree came down right here. Just missed this house, but crushed this van, blowing the windows right out of it. Fortunately, no one was in that van, and no one in this house was injured. So we're going to show you now going up the street here. You see all the damage going down the street. Lots of trees down here, mostly pine trees down here. We spoke with the woman over here on your left, and she told us that this all struck around 7 o'clock this morning. So on every block just about on the northwest side of downtown Elm City, you can see some sort of damage. The flooding that's here, we're told by some of the residents, some of that is from when the hurricane came through, but most of it is from the torrential rains they had ahead of the tornado this morning. Of course, that's the rains from the hurricane too, but a lot of this flooding that you see here on the streets actually happened this morning. Here's a dogwood tree that came down over here on the right. Looks like that house escaped. There is a home over here that has a tarp on the left over here behind that black SUV. But the real story here, the biggest survival story, is coming up on the right as we go past the stop sign. You're going to see it right here. This is where a large pine tree blew over this morning, came crashing through this home. In that house was a husband and wife and their 9-year-old grandson. They were back in their bedrooms when they said the alarms went back off on their phones, and they ran and grabbed their grandson, who just 10 minutes before the alarms went off had been sleeping in the room where that tree crashed through the roof. You see, they've been working on it since several hours now. This is actually, the roots have finally gone back into place. When they chopped this tree in half, this part of the trunk stood straight up, and the rest, as you can see, crashed right there into that house. We again talked with the folks who lived here, and Susan Pittman says she doesn't even want to think about what would have happened had this come a little bit earlier, had they not been warned, and had her grandson been in that room right there. So, and then if you look down the street in this direction, over between there, see that beige house, and over in that area, there's some homes on that street over there that also had trees on them, not quite like this, but they had trees on them, and nobody over there was hurt. We had one woman who lives over there tell us that they also got the warnings, and that they grabbed their kids and got down on the floor. And fortunately, the tree only took peeled back a portion of their roof, hit the house, and glanced off. So all this tales here in Elm City are tales of survival from this morning. You know, our meteorologists have been warning for days that the hurricane can spawn tornadoes, short-lived tornadoes. That's apparently what this was. It came and went quickly. They said they heard it, and they could hear the tree crashing in the house here and felt the house vibrate, and then pretty much everything was over just like that. John and Barbara, you noted, and we talked with him earlier, there's a man from nearby town of Macclesfield who has a bunch of family here, aunts and other family here, and he said he was watching ABC11 this morning, and he heard on Eyewitness News that there was a tornado warning for here. So he called friends and family, jumped in his truck, and they headed over this way, and by the time they got here, it had already struck. So he said all of his family heard those same warnings. He let them know in case they didn't, and they all said they had heard it. They all took shelter. And the good news to report here in Elm City this afternoon is that everyone is fine. There's a fair amount of damage, property damage, but everyone here says that can all be repaired, and they're just grateful that no one was injured.
You know, it's amazing, Ed, how we have all this technology to help people, keep them safe, and to see that it works. That's the most gratifying thing, to know that that grandson is with his grandparents and everybody is, I mean, and I was amazed to know that they still have power in that house.
It is incredible. And you know, I've been doing this a long time, 40 years now. I've been at the station 34. I've covered, in the years past, back in the day, covered too many fatalities where people just didn't know the storm was coming. And now it's incredible. You know, we can just hear this beep, beep, beep on our phone and find out we're in a tornado warning. I think most people have rehearsed this. They know to go to an interior room. And that's what the folks did here. They went into a closet. And it's just miraculous stories of survival, and I believe that this technology has saved a lot of lives.
Couldn't say it better. Ed Crump, live in the Elm City area of Wilson County. Thank you so much. And now's the time to download the ABC11 apps and the AccuWeather apps, and you might be warned just in the nick of time.
Their grandmother also said they had the hand of God, too, and technology.
Yeah, that counts.
We'll be right back. Welcome back now. Chopper 11 HD getting remarkable footage today of the damage Florence left behind along her coast.
And for the first time, we are seeing a bird's eye view from Topsail, Wilmington, Wrightsville Beach. Andrea Blanford is in the Breaking News Center, and she has all that.
Yeah, it was incredible to see this morning, John and Barbara, as Chopper 11 HD really hugged our coastline, starting in Topsail, making their way down toward Wrightsville Beach. And so we're going to start with Topsail Beach just to show you this bird's eye view of some of the damage there that we first got to see this morning. Again, just looking back, and you can tell just how much the wind and the waves must have battered that first line of homes there on the shore. A lot of those wooden piers and docks and things like that stretching out into onto the beach, giving people beach access, all blown away, shattered. I mean, we can't really see just barely any remnants of some of those left. Also, we know from the town, and you can see it for yourself right here, that most of the damage that they were able to get out there and assess first off was roofing, shingles, siding, things like that. And you can see right there where a lot of the shingles are now missing from that home, just keep going down. I mean, it's just incredible, the battering that went on there. Again, those pieces of wood looking a lot like toothpicks from Chopper 11 HD just scattered all along the beach there in Topsail. Really took a beating when Florence came on and made landfall late last week, and again, just sitting over this area for the last couple of days. And we know that access is limited right now to Topsail for only those utility crews to try to get out there and restore power. There's a lot of standing water. You're looking right now at the beach and just the shattered piers that we're trying to give people access there that are all now blown off and broken off. But on the next road over, we were seeing a lot of standing water. There's standing salt water on the roads in many places along Topsail Beach. And so access to the public is prohibited at this point. There is no re-entry for the public, but we did see some utility crews out there with their bucket trucks trying to start the restoring process, trying to get power back up, because as soon as people get back on Topsail, they're going to have a lot of work to do. The town was certain that there would be some flooding in the lower levels of many of those homes that you're looking at right here. And I know a lot of you have been asking if we could see specific home-specific areas, but Chopper 11 really did get a very good sweep of the place. And just to show you the overall impact that Florence had on Topsail Beach, it really is devastating for a lot of that area there, especially that front line of homes. But of course, going back to several different streets back off of the coast. Standing water is there. There's some flooding issues going on that they're having to deal with. So again, access still prohibited to the public on Topsail, but first responders, public utilities, things like that, those crews are able to get on and try to start the process of getting things back to normal. Moving farther south, we also were over Figure 8 Island this morning. Here is the look from Chopper 11 HD over Figure 8, and it really does look like there's really no other way to get there unless you're trying to fly or take a boat. There was a lot of flooding that we were seeing on Figure 8. The island is really impacted from Florence and the floodwaters that came on. And so we're going to continue to watch how conditions change there on Figure 8. And also, let's move down to Wrightsville Beach too, because Chopper 11 did move down to Wrightsville Beach as well this morning, trying to show us the damage and the flooding that was there. And I do want to show you here, a lot of this area, we were hearing from the Wrightsville Beach Police Department that they're still without power there. They were hoping to get people back on. You can see from Chopper 11, they actually got that one fire truck in view there. But they were trying to get power back up. Some transformers blew this morning, so that opportunity was shot, and they're now trying to get power back and restored at Wrightsville Beach. Also, they're working right now to get the water pressure back up. That's an issue for the fire department. They need adequate water pressure in order to properly serve the public there in Wrightsville. And so until that is restored, they're really struggling to get people back on there too. So this is just the first view that we really got from Chopper 11 HD since Florence moved out, that we've been able to see the overall damage along our coastline. It's a tough sight to see, and we're going to continue to show you just throughout the day as the day progresses how conditions change out there along our coast. John and Barbara.
Very informative. Thank you, Andrea Blanford. And you can go on our website, abc11.com, and see more of that aerial video of the barrier islands.
It is amazing. All right, Anthony Wilson is live for us now in Cumberland County, and you're actually in someone's home, Anthony.
That's right. This is the home of Lonnie and Jessica Wallace. They were hit hard by this rising water. I want to give you an idea of what the flood did to their home. Come on in, Jeff. First, you can see that the floor is wet. The water was fairly high here, but this is just the tip of their problem. This is the wood floor. Let's come this way. Over here, you can hear the water inside this carpet, waterlogged. Look at that. This carpet ruined. Let's keep going through the home. Over here, we're coming through the bathroom. They've got 2 cats. That's cat litter box. Both cats are okay, by the way. They got the cats out. And then coming back around here through the living room, water everywhere. Look at this. All on the carpet. They tried to keep the water out over here when they realized the water was rising. And then we're going to come over here and actually meet the Wallaces. They're over here in the kitchen. And thank you very much for talking with us. We appreciate you taking the time. First of all, we're glad that you're okay. And tell us what you did before all this water came into your home.
Well, we came in about 2 days ago and we got our TV out, we got our electronics out and all the important documents that we were prepared. We were told that we may get flooded. We were warned with signs on our doors. They came knocking at our doors and told us to get ready to evacuate.
And you did? You weren't even in the home when all this happened, right?
No, we've been staying since Thursday. We evacuated to Southview High School shelter because we were warned that this place has been underwater before during Matthew.
Yeah, and then you weren't here during Matthew, so you had no idea this could possibly happen. When you walked through the door this morning, what went through your mind?
Wow, look at all this water everywhere.
I never thought something like this would happen to us. We've seen it on TV before, but I thought we were safe from flooding, but I guess having a creek in your backyard is kind of obvious, I guess.
That's right. And what are you going to do next? Obviously, this is not habitable right now for you two.
Well, we have love and family. We have our loving Heavenly Father up in heaven, and we have each other. And I'm grateful that we're safe.
When you got here this morning, among other things, after you assessed the damage, you got on your phone and got on Facebook Live.
Yes, this morning we came about 8 o'clock, and the water was rushing out around our patio. It was all the way up in the breezeways outside. It was crazy. It looked like a river was just flowing through our house on the outside.
But again, because you did that pre-planning and you got the emergency kit together, the important things, in addition to your health and your life, you got the things you're going to need to rebuild again.
Yes, we have the most important things. We have our documents. We still have our jobs. We still have cars. We still have food. We'll be able to get through this.
And you heeded the advice. We've been saying it repeatedly over and over again. When people say get out, but take the important things. That's what you did.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't want to risk our lives or putting other people's lives in danger when they're doing search and rescue, just because we wanted to live in the comfort of our home. It has not been comfortable that well at the shelter, sleeping on a cot, but it's a blessing that we had that to be out of the waters.
You bet. Anything else that you want people to know? Because they're watching this worldwide now. There are a lot of people looking, not just here in our area. Do you have relatives you want to say hi and you're okay too?
All the videos that you see, most of them on Facebook and on social media, it's real. This stuff is real and it is happening. It is no joke.
To all our family, our familia en Texas, estamos bien, estamos vivos, saludables. Gracias por sus oraciones. All our family in California and Texas, everybody, everywhere. Thank you for your prayers, for everyone praying for North Carolina. We appreciate it.
All right. Wallaces, thank you very much. There you have it. Let's take one more look at some of the damage here. Appreciate it. Stay safe. Just look down here. We're talking about serious damage, but again, the important thing here is they made the plans, they've got their health, they are together. Electronics, furniture, even this place can be replaced, not lives. John and Barbara.
What a wonderful couple. God bless them.
Yes,
and
indeed.
I love their attitude. They didn't want to put anyone else in danger, too. So thank you, Anthony, for bringing us that live report.
And we wish them well.
Yes, I think they'll be okay.
I think so.
Well, go ahead.
There's some exclusive video right now as the U.S. Army tours the damage of Hurricane Florence left behind in our state.
Our anchor, Joel Brown, is the only local media on this flight this afternoon with General Mark Milley. General Milley is the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army. This is a little bit of the video that we were sent mid-flight. Joel is going to bring us a live report later tonight on Eyewitness News, so be sure to tune in for that.
All right, well, we saw a muddy mess in that home in Cumberland County, but there's another muddy mess, there are plenty of them, remains after water put an entire shopping center underwater.
Julie Wilson joins us from Eastgate Mall in Chapel Hill. Julie.
Yeah, here at the shopping center, business owners and people who manage these businesses, right over here behind us, they're starting to come out and to assess the damage about what happened here. We had the opportunity to speak to the person who runs Birkenstock Feet First right behind us, and she said when she got in that the water was about mid-calf. Of course, that has gone down. Now, if you look right over here, you can kind of see where the water's still kind of pouring out of the businesses. Of course, we've watched the water really recede out of those businesses. We're told that there is a creek nearby. The problem now is how long is it going to take to get all of this mud out? It's like someone came down through here with a paintbrush and just painted all of this on, and this mud just expands through all of this shopping center right out here. We actually I was talking to you about how we spoke to the person who runs the Birkenstock Feet First. She said that that white car right over there, that might have some flooding damage. She said that the water was pretty high up on that thing, at times perhaps touching the roof there. But again, here at the Eastgate Shopping Center, business owners cleaning up after Florence dumped all of that water on us. And we've been in and out of the Bull City really all day. Our Bull City was the focus of where we were at, and we saw a lot of places that had the water come out, flash flooding, rescues had to happen, and then the water went right back down, and those cars that got stranded in those roadways where the water was over had to be towed out. We saw that over there on Spurt Avenue, I believe it was, in Hillendale, right there in the Bull City across from the golf course. So we've seen quite a bit of things. 15501 off the westbound lane, if I recall right, looked just like it was a river. You couldn't even see the white lines on the highway. Police, of course, had that shut down. And then MLK Boulevard, you couldn't get off onto that from 15501. They're kind of where Durham meets Chapel Hill. So we've seen quite a bit today, including that school bus. A lot of people talking about that school bus with Durham Public Schools. They're on Pickett Street. The bus driver noticed how, the Pickett Road, I should say, noticed the water and how high it was there in Mud Creek. It was just spilling over. So that bus driver turned around and unfortunately got stuck there in the ditch. But fortunately, all the kids on that bus were safe. And as we were wrapping up and leaving there, we did see a principal or a teacher or someone that the kids were really familiar with greeting them. Those kids were all smiles as they had the opportunity to meet with them, and then hopefully went on to the school there. And so quite a bit. The roads have been touch and go. Low-lying areas, anywhere near the creeks, we've been seeing those overflow in a lot of places, John and Barbara.
All right, thank you. Lots of cleanup ahead, but they're going to be all right, too. Thank you, Julie.
All right, I want to show you a live picture of video showing traffic along I-95 South headed toward Myrtle Beach, and you can see, boy, yeah, a lot of people trying to get back to Myrtle Beach, and as you can see, it is slow going.
There have been 6 confirmed storm-related deaths in South Carolina. We just learned from the White House that the president has approved a disaster relief for South Carolina. That just happened this morning, happened for North Carolina over the weekend. Wouldn't you like to be in that traffic?
Yeah. No, but we've seen it after every area opens. People want to get back so badly. They want to see their property and they want to get back home, and it's just not easy in any of these places.
Relatively minor damage in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, unlike some other places.
They were on the clean side of the storm, so as the storm went in, they didn't see the full brunt of the storm. They still saw damage, but not what some of those northern side of the storm people saw.
Yeah.
So, good afternoon. Let's show you what's going on weather-wise. We have a couple of flash flood warnings to tell you about. Those are the flash flood warnings up in Granville and Vance counties, in Durham County, in northwestern Wake County, and Person County. All of those running. Now, I've had a lot of questions on this. What does this compare to Matthew? So we'll start with some of the rivers around the area. Tar River, forecast at Tarboro to crest at 17.4. Matthew, it was up to 36.3, so that's a 19-foot difference. It will be 19 feet lower than Matthew. Neuse River, 18.9. Matthew crest was 29.1. It's a 10-foot difference. And the Neuse River at Goldsboro, forecast to go to 26. It went to 29, a little closer there, but still below what Matthew did. Let's go from there and check out the Cape Fear. Cape Fear at Wilmington, it's forecast to go to 24.9. That is 5 feet higher for the Cape Fear at Wilmington than we saw with Matthew. The Cape Fear at Fayetteville, forecast to go to 61.8. That's almost 3 feet higher. It's not quite as high as it was yesterday. They knocked that down by about a half a foot. And the Little River at Manchester has set an all-time high, forecast to go to 34.5 feet. 32.1 was the Matthew crest, and it's already broken that as it will finish about 2.4 feet up from Matthew. Let's look at radar right now. Live look at First Alert Doppler this afternoon. We see the showers through Mecklenburg County, for the most part, almost done. You got some light showers up there, heavier showers right now in portions of Granville County and northern Durham County. This put down a quick heavy shower in Durham, sliding into the northern tip of Wake County, and then it's working off to the north through Granville. We slide south. Not much going on in the Sandhills. That's good. You had one or two spotty showers through Sampson County into Cumberland, Hoke, and Moore counties, northwest Moore County. A little bit of shower activity there. There's one light shower here along 421 between Sanford and Lillington, unfortunately falling across the Cape River Basin, and that could add to more water into the Cape Fear at Lillington. Live look into downtown Raleigh, 86 right now, 70% humidity, south wind 13 miles per hour. We're looking live into Durham. Temperature right now 82. Look at the rain. We've had almost 5 inches of rain since midnight. Let's look at a couple of our other stations real quick. I'm going to walk over to my computer that can change the cameras, so that's why I'm not on camera right now. I want to see what's going on. Let's look into Fayetteville and see what kind of rain total we're seeing down there. A live look into Fayetteville along Hay Street atop Husk Hardware in Fayetteville. 86 degrees. That rain sits here. Well, you know what? You may have only seen 1/100 of an inch. Downtown Fayetteville hasn't seen much in the way of rainfall today. The sensor might be a little off. Southwest wind 11. A lot of sunshine in Fayetteville. That is good news. North Hills. We'll look live in the North Hills from our sensor on top of looking off toward the Target there and toward the hotel. Temperature right now 73. 1.33 inches of rain and some clouds working through. I think that's probably pretty close. Here's a pretty shot. How about if we go down to Wrightsville Beach? Live look at Wrightsville Beach. They saw a lot of sunshine, beautiful sunrise. Anna Rivera was on today, maybe. There it is. Now it's a little hazy, humidity up. They did see some rain, unfortunately, move through 76 degrees. They've had 4 inches of additional rainfall today. West wind at 13 miles per hour. You can see that line that moved through and dumped a bunch of rain down there. We're still watching this line of showers back here. Right there, and this is going to advance east, so I think this will trigger some showers as it slowly works off to the north and to the east over the afternoon. All part of Florence as Florence pulls out. The heaviest rain right now, not only in our region, but some heavy rain working through western and central Pennsylvania. You can see the swirl in the clouds. There is the center of Florence as it starts to move away. We see those showers and these, just the tail of this kind of as it works through, triggering a shower possibly across the region through the afternoon. The rain's going to stick around. Your First Alert Predictor forecast model showing spotty showers around as we head through this Monday afternoon and evening. You see these little spots of showers today. That line as it advances east, it will fall apart, but it could bring a spotty shower or a thunderstorm. I don't think we'll see anything severe. And though I don't think it'll put down flooding rains, there's so much moisture in the air, there's so much humidity in the air that once it grabs hold of that, it could put down some heavier rainfall in spots, so we will have to watch for that. Then as we go into tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., the model still tries to hold a stray shower up north. I think most places will be rain-free tomorrow morning. It will be very humid to start the day tomorrow, and all that heat and humidity, notice by tomorrow afternoon, some spotty showers showing up around here. And then as we go from tomorrow afternoon into Wednesday, watch what happens there. Skies clear out. We see some nice weather moving back in, and we will see a change in the weather as we go into Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with better weather on the way. We saw the clouds and showers around this morning and those temperatures climbing through the 70s this afternoon. It will stay breezy with showers. Temperatures into the 80s, 81 degrees. We'll hang around in the 80s all afternoon long. Your 7-day forecast powered by AccuWeather. Tomorrow, temperatures back into the 80s, 87 degrees, just a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Wednesday, 86 and mostly sunny skies. On your Thursday, 84, lots of sunshine will stay dry into Friday, 86 degrees. Saturday, first day of fall, will be 88 degrees under partly cloudy skies. And on your Sunday, could see shower or a thunderstorm. Temperatures back into the mid 80s. Barbara, your hair got darker.
It's amazing.
I leave. Barbara's here. I'm gone. She goes away.
I know, we did a little magic trick.
Nice. Very,
I'm
very
giving
good.
Barbara a break for just a minute.
Good. All right. Definitely deserves it. And John, keep going.
All right. All right. Thank you. Good to have Andrea on the desk for a few minutes.
Yeah,
but we're going to continue with our live reports now. Dwan Hogard is in Durham. Don was just talking about all that rain we got in a short period of time this morning in Durham. Well, it's still around. Dwan, where are you and what are you seeing?
Well, John, it's a little deceiving out here because for the first time in a couple of days, I can actually look up and see the sun and see some blue skies. But I'm here in Durham at the intersection of Felicia Street and Graymont Drive. All of this flooding right now is from this morning's rain, and I can probably go out to about the stop sign. But if I hang this right here, the water's going to come up about mid-level here, and I want to have photojournalist Dave Anderson show you down Felicia Street here. You can tell how some of the water is already creeping up towards the top of mailboxes out here. I mean, you even see a trash can floating out here in the water. And again, all of this is from this morning's rain. Dave, if you can kind of show folks over to the left hand, to your left a little bit, you can kind of see a car in a driveway there. You see that water rising about halfway up the side of the car. I had a chance to talk to some of the folks who live out here. And I asked them, can you kind of explain to me where all of this water is coming from? Now, just down the road a little bit, you'll run into the Eno River, and then over to the back of these homes, the rock quarry is back there, and that's where some of that water is supposed to actually dump off, but that's not happening, which is what's creating this flooding condition out here. They did say roughly around 10 o'clock this morning, the waters began to recede quite a bit, but still it's a pretty much of a dangerous situation. We've seen a couple of cars come through Graymont here and Felicia and actually turn left on Felicia. But if you're wanting to turn right and go down that way, bad idea. It's not supposed to happen for you at all. So definitely, I imagine the folks who are over in this area, if they haven't already been evacuated, they're probably monitoring the situation and staying home because clearly not a good idea to get out. Again, here in Durham, a corner of Felicia Street and Graymont. Earlier, I spoke with one of the representatives from the Durham Fire Department, and he was telling me over on Rippling Stream by Eno River, that was an area where they had to do a few evacuations earlier today. In total, they made about 11 rescues. He said that neighborhood has since somewhat cleared up. There's a little bit of flooding, but it is safe. His words saying it is safe to get back to that area if you do live over there. But certainly some dicey conditions out here in Durham, all from this morning's rain. They had quite a bit of rain this morning. And on top of that, they also had to deal with a tornado warning for quite some time. So folks here, they're just kind of standing out on the porches around here, watching this water as it recedes, hoping that it continues to recede, but still pretty much impassable roads out here. But we're going to stick around and kind of find some more spots in Durham where it looks pretty much like this. But again, if you're out there, you're out and about, state officials are urging you, especially in conditions like this, if you don't have to leave your home, if you don't have to drive, stay home, because the last thing they want to do is to have to rescue you if you go out on the roads. They certainly want the roads to be as clear as possible so they can get to anybody who needs to be rescued. So again, just a dangerous situation. We're going to watch these waters, and hopefully these waters continue to recede, and folks who live here, if they're not already home or if they are home, they can have some access in and out. But for now, pretty much an island for those folks in those homes out there. Back to you guys in the studio.
Wow. All right. Pretty dramatic stuff. Thank you, Dwan Hogard. More than 4 inches of rain falling in Durham early this morning, and it's not going anywhere.
No, and he was talking about the water rescues that have been going on, and we've been tracking those since early this morning. Several people trying to drive out in these rising waters and getting stuck. And then first responders need to get out there with the rafts and come and get them. So.
If you're just tuning in, according to the latest statistics, 17 confirmed storm-related deaths in North Carolina. More than 1,200 roads closed or impassable. 480,000 outages as of midday. 195, I can't read my writing here. No, 2,600 people and 300 animals rescued in the state. So that's something positive.
Yeah, and I believe Chopper 11 HD is overhead of some more storm damage, and so we're going to continue to give you a bird's eye view here.
What is that?
Wow, that is a lot of water. I'm not really sure exactly where this is, producers, if we do know, and it looks like something was breached right there. Boiling Springs.
In Brunswick County, Boiling Springs, right next to New Hanover County.
Okay, it was a dam that failed. So that's, yeah, this is apparently flooding the farmlands in that area in Brunswick County right here in Boiling Springs. Just really hard to see. Just one image after the next of just the powerful floodwaters and just the toll that it's taking still all these days after Florence made landfall.
Yeah,
we're going to be dealing with this for some time.
So fortunately, this is a rural area, not heavily populated, but you might imagine what could have happened if this was a dam by a city or a well-populated village. Boiling Springs in Brunswick County, a failed dam, flooding mostly farm areas.
Yeah, and that's going to take a big toll on the farmers there and the folks who depend on that land and goodness, that's a lot of water now since that failure of that dam there in Brunswick County in Boiling Spring. All right, we're going to break right now. Eyewitness News will continue right after this. We're back, and it's time for John to take a little breather. So we continue to track the changing conditions in Harnett County this afternoon.
That's right. Our Jonah Kaplan is monitoring the Little River where the flood threat continues there. Where are you now, Jonah?
Well, we moved down. You can see I'm standing right in the middle of Bragg Boulevard. Made it down here to Cumberland County. This is the main artery between all those folks who live in Harnett County and northern Cumberland County, and then they come down to Fort Bragg into Fayetteville. And well, just look at this. I mean, traffic is shut down. The water where I'm standing, I would say, is about a foot deep, and the current too strong for us to be at the intersection with Manchester Road right there. And that was a bridge we were standing at for the past 3 days. That was a place where the U.S. Geological Survey was raising their gauge to measure the crest of the river, and they actually had to raise it, and I'm worried right now that's even underwater. Take a look over here to my left, your right. This is the Presbyterian Church of the Covenant. There are no words. I mean, those are classrooms where people study the Bible, study Noah and the ark and the floods, and now that's underwater. We do know that there have been about 12 rescues over the past few days, and today also an Army vehicle that has been going on. We were able to get there and take a look at some of these things, but it's really amazing stuff, Andrea.
It is, and just to see the water level. And
My IFB is out.
Okay.
It's okay, Jonah.
Yeah, thank you,
Appreciate the
Jonah.
report.
My goodness, just to see the water inside those buildings at this point. We knew this was going to happen yesterday. We were watching the water levels rise in Harnett and Cumberland counties, and just to see it today.
Yeah, so many scenes like that playing out
amazing.
all over the place. Well, again, ABC11 Together is coordinating a fundraising effort to help the thousands of people affected by Florence.
Yeah, you can text Florence to 90999 to make a $10 donation to Red Cross relief efforts. It'll go a long way.
Yeah, now so many of you have been reaching out asking how you can help. We have details about how to donate and help storm victims on our website, ABC11 Together, or abc11.com/together.
You'll also find information right there about shelters, how to get help from FEMA, and what counts as price gouging. We thank you for your generosity in advance, because in times like these, you, our community, we always come together and we help out our neighbors in need, and so we're excited to see what we're going to do this time around.
And the recipients will be oh so grateful. Yeah. Well, a Southern staple opens hours after Hurricane Florence hits North Carolina.
Residents waiting hours to get their chicken dinners this week at Clinton's Southern Style Barbecue and Fried Chicken. Our localish team went to find out, was it worth the wait?
I've been driving a while out here in Clinton, North Carolina. I stopped though and I noticed that there was a longer line for the fried chicken place than the gas station. Look at the line here. There's about 50 cars behind me. Another about 100 cars in front, all waiting to get some Southern style chicken.
Waited 2 hours and 20 minutes to get here.
2 hours and 20 minutes?
Yes, sir.
And you got a kid in the back?
Yeah, we got a kid in the back.
How long have you been waiting?
Forever.
About 2 hours.
Just about 11:30.
Wow, it's now almost 2 o'clock.
Yes. I've been in line about an hour and a half.
It's been about 2 hours probably.
2.5 hours. We got two troll pieces, an 8-piece. We got barbecue. We got a lot of food.
You guys saw that line now. I want to meet the people who own this place. Hey,
Hi.
Can I talk to you guys about
Sure, come on in, yeah. I'm the owner of the business. This is my mom, who started the business with me 30 years ago. She's 82 years old and she's here today helping us because we're so busy.
I'm doing dishes today.
Have you seen a lot of hurricanes come through?
I remember when Hazel come through, so that was in '54.
1954?
Yeah.
The hurricane just happened. You guys are already open. Nothing else was open in this town.
Nothing else is open. Most of my employees do not have electricity. They just jumped in and have trying to feed the community.
You have no power in your home right now?
No.
We out of power. We have no power at all. We have it's basically flooding down our way right now.
Kind of stressful, but we're here, we're making it, we're doing it.
You know, a hot meal when you don't have power is a good thing.
You guys have become kind of like a light, a beacon to this town.
Everyone they want some fried chicken.
I know it's comfort food.
It is comfort food.
At a time when a lot of people need it.
Right.
I got 3 kids at home, so right now they my priority. We don't have no power. We got a generator, but I'd rather be safe than sorry.
Have you ever seen lines like this?
Never. Never.
We fry all the fried chicken here. It's in a family recipe. We wet batter our fried chicken. This is just a hand cranked hush puppy dropper. So it drops 2 hush puppies at a time. And we just crank this out and then they just pop to the top. Everyone in the South loves hush puppies. We can't eat barbecue and coleslaw without our hush puppies.
Those are literally bursting at the seams there. What was your order here?
Everything.
We're loading up the order for a nursing home that needs food. Can I get some help, please? Anytime that there's a disaster or just any need in the community, everyone comes together.
North Carolina loves its chicken, that's for sure. That line says it all.
It is worth the wait.
It is, yes.
Have a good one.
Okay, I gotta try that chicken.
You know it, and some good people serving it up too.
Exactly.
Oh wow, well for more stories like this one, just check out the localist section. It's on abc11.com.
All right, I want to show you some more live pictures that we showed you about maybe 10 minutes ago. Okay, now we've got a different location. Where is this, producer? Okay. Okay,
water
this
sure does look a little bit better, a little bit.
It does. It's getting a little bit better. We intended to show you a dam breach in Brunswick County, but now we have changed our shot and we are off our coast. We have seen many of our coastal areas that were hit by Hurricane Florence and flooded roads, as you can see right there, and many have lost part of their had damage to property, had damage to piers, and a lot of people are just now trying to get back into these areas to see about their own property.
Yeah, several areas along our coast right now limiting access only to public utility crews that are trying to get out there and restore the power. Reentry is prohibited right now for members of the public. You cannot go back out to Topsail, Wrightsville Beach, places like this, just because there is so much recovery work that still needs to be done. And you can see from Chopper 11 just the standing saltwater on that first road right off of the coast right there.
You can.
Yeah, and the damaged piers have been really remarkable to watch as well, just to see all of those pieces of wood just scattered along our coast. People are going to be coming back with a lot of roof damage, missing siding, things like that, just from when Hurricane Florence made landfall in that general area on Friday.
And it's interesting to see, we see some of our coastal areas got hit worse than others.
Yeah.
Atlantic Beach, some of the homes along the coast, along the beaches did not get the worst of it. It was the homes inland. So a lot of people will be getting back to their properties eventually to see what work needs to be done and how much of it needs to be done.
I know they're anxious to get back out there, but you know these officials are asking to stay away.
It's not the right time.
That's right.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to send it to break real quick. We'll be back right after this. Oh, no. Okay. All right. Well, actually, let's go to Wilmington because the struggle to get out of Wilmington continues this afternoon.
That's right.
Our reporter Sarah Bloomquist from our sister station WPVI in Philadelphia working to get out there. She has made it to Jacksonville now, and she's on Facebook Live documenting her escape. One of the big struggles was getting gas.
Hey everybody, it's Sarah Bloomquist. You can see the Action News van here behind me. We are attempting to make our way out of Wilmington, North Carolina and get back to Philadelphia. We have a super long and difficult road ahead of us. A lot of the main roads, as you know, are flooded out, Route 40 and even about 16 miles of I-95. So we're taking some of the back roads to try to make our way back. At the moment, we are in Jacksonville, North Carolina, just off 258 here back behind me. There is a pretty good amount of traffic here, people making the way around, but the issue with that, let me get over here on this side of the road, is that there is nowhere to get gas. Look at this gas line here along 258 in Jacksonville, North Carolina. This is the Shell station over here. They've even hired a security guard to monitor people trying to get into this gas station. We've seen downed power lines, we've seen downed trees here along our route. Most of the stretches of the roadway do not have power. This intersection where I am does happen to have power right now. Let me go over here and see if I can talk to this security guard here. Hey, so we're from Philadelphia.
Okay.
We're reporting live on Facebook
Hi
right
there.
now. What's your name?
Carl Vanderveer.
Carl, what's it been like today?
It's been bumper to bumper after we went through and did emergency services this morning to make sure all of our local county officials and all that can go through and do their job. It's been like an hour and a half delay, wait to get in line, but we're rationing at $60 an hour, $60 per person per car.
$60 per car, okay.
So bye now, y'all be good. Because my boss believes this is a civic duty because we are one of the few locally owned convenience store chains, unlike, you got your major brands that cover a whole state. We own 5 stores and we try to do something for the community, taking care of our emergency services and then taking care of our customers the best we can.
We're also doing some broadcasting for the station in Raleigh,
right.
And they want people to know that who evacuated, like just stay where you are, right?
Oh, absolutely. Because think of it this way: most people know Goldsboro from Jacksonville, North Carolina is 70 miles. It's taken us 190 miles to get to Goldsboro, which is 70 miles away, just because of the flooding waters and everything else. But these are green lines that the state has set so we can get fuel trucks in.
Yeah.
But that's all we're trying to do. But it's just people need gas, and unfortunately not everybody has a generator, so their cars are their chargers and their air-conditioned rooms, and a lot of people are in their cars, and that's why a lot of fuel is being used. Unfortunately, not everybody has the ability to get a generator or be someplace like that.
But they should just stay, you know, if they're in Tennessee or Virginia right now, rode out the storm there, just stay there, right?
You can't get back, because if you think of it, New Bern, North Carolina has the Neuse River going all the way to Raleigh. In Wilmington, North Carolina, you've got the Cape Fear River that runs all the way to Fayetteville. Those two got us blocked off. We're almost like a little island here, whereas we can't get in and out.
Right. People being pretty cordial and...
Yeah, I mean, this is, versus yesterday, this is wonderful. Absolutely wonderful.
What happened yesterday?
It was just... It wasn't, the 4 Ps wasn't involved because we didn't have proper planning.
Yeah.
Today the planning is proper. My boss, Jerry Allen, did a wonderful job, and kudos to you, Jerry. You're a good boss man. I was just...
All right, so telling him here, yeah. All right, we'll probably talk to you again if you don't mind. All right, thank you so much. And if
Big yellow button in the middle, press start.
Here we go. Let me show you again the gas line here. We are reporting live from Jacksonville, North Carolina. This is the gas line here outside of this Shell station. You heard him saying there, they're allowing each car about $60 worth of gas. They see it as their civic duty. How are you? Great. Can we talk to you? Sure. We're I'm with the ABC station in Philadelphia, but we're broadcasting for Philadelphia and the station in Raleigh, Durham right now. We're trying to get home. We're trying to give people an idea of what the conditions are like. What would you tell them?
Things are looking a whole lot better than what they were a couple days ago. We were like flooded in really bad out in the southwest part of Jacksonville. We're just now being able to get out and get gas and all, so things are looking up.
Part of what they want us to tell people is that, you know, if you evacuated to Virginia or Tennessee, or even there are people up in the Philadelphia area, stay there for now. You might as well, right?
Yeah, as far as the people being out of this area, yeah, they definitely need to wait at least another couple days until they come back.
Right, not worth making the trek,
no,
right?
No.
How long have you been in this gas line?
Probably about an hour and a half, something like that.
Probably two and a half.
Yeah.
2 to 2.5 hours.
It's worth it though. It's worth it.
It's worth it. Yeah, you guys operating off generaters and.
Yep, right now. We don't have power out in our area just yet.
Okay.
It'll be another probably 2 or 3 days.
2 or 3 days.
Yep.
All right, so back here live in Jacksonville, North Carolina. Gas lines are long. As we were making our way, we came up 17 a short time ago, and on 17 we did see trains of one after another power crews headed south, which is really great news to see that they are able to get through. And we also saw some medical services, lots and lots of them making their way through. The medical services trying to get into the area to set up any assistance they can. We're here at a Shell station along 258 in Jacksonville. I don't think we're too far from Camp Lejeune, and I know there are a lot of service members who are wondering how their homes are and that sort of thing. There is a lot of damage. There is no power to most places. You heard that couple I just talked to who said they think it could be about 3 days before the power comes back on. People are asking me, like in individual areas, if it's okay, and it's really hit or miss as to whether or not a tree's down or the power's down. That's primarily what we are seeing. There is a good deal of flooding as well. Let's see if we can talk to some other people here in this gas line. Take a look at it here. It extends a long distance. People telling us they've been in the gas line for 2.5 hours in some cases. Let's go around here, see if any of these people will chat with me. Hey, can we talk to you? I'm from the ABC station in Philadelphia, and we're also on Facebook Live for the station in Raleigh, Durham as well.
You don't have anything going on in Philadelphia?
We came down here to see how you all are doing.
Well, this is my second time here today trying to get fuel to work.
your name?
Steve.
Steve, what's your name?
Pat.
Hi, Steve and Pat. So, how long have you been in this line?
The first time was about an hour and a half. This time it's been about an hour and 10 minutes.
Okay.
So that's not too bad.
Not too bad.
You got to do what you got to do.
Right. You guys obviously no power.
Oh no, I haven't had any power since Thursday.
Oh my gosh.
So hopefully not too much.
So we have, you know, there are a lot of service members in this military, right? Yeah, and they're asking us how they're away. Some are stationed overseas. They're asking us how things are, and I'm trying to tell them it's really kind of hit or miss, right? Like some areas there are trees down, and others there aren't, and it just you're gonna have to wait and get.
And the surge did come up, but it's gone back out. So
okay.
I think we're pretty good on the flooding so far.
Okay. The other thing they want us to convey to people who did evacuate that maybe it's just best to stay where you are for right now. Do you think?
Oh yeah. They evacuated Camp Lejeune. I do know that.
Okay.
There's still, from what we understand, there's still several roads that are impassable trying to get in and out of the county. So.
Right.
Show her that picture. Oh, I don't know where it is.
That's all right.
We have a picture of all the roads that are impassable.
Okay.
In North Carolina.
Okay.
And there are no roads passable.
There are no roads passable. Yeah.
I'm serious.
We're trying to get back to Philadelphia, and we're taking these back roads because 40's out, 16 miles of I-95 is out. So.
Better be very careful.
We're going to be very careful. Oh wait, let me go. You go.
My condolences to the Eagles.
Hey, thanks a lot. That's the low blow, you know? Thanks a lot. Giving me a hard time for the Eagles loss. That's not very nice. All right, so we are here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, off of 258. There is a little bit of traffic. These are people who stayed, who rode out the storm, but conditions are not good. They don't have power. They're not going to have power for 2 to 3 days, they estimate. And look at the line here to get gas. I can't even tell you where it ends. It goes blocks and blocks and blocks in this direction. Really not a good situation. Authorities advising people to just stay where you are. You're better off. If you're watching us on Facebook Live right now, maybe you have internet service. That's not happening here at the moment. Let's see if anybody else over here will talk to us. How are you? We're on Facebook Live. I'm from the Philadelphia area. We're trying to make our way home. How are conditions here in the Jacksonville area? Aggravating.
This line was like 2.5 hours. I'm just getting to the point.
Wow. For people who are not close, who evacuated, what would be your advice to them? Stay where you are?
Yeah, stay where you are. Get home when you can safely.
Yeah.
Other than that,
it's rough. Yeah. There are no grocery stores. There's no power. Yeah, it's horrible.
It's not what we was expecting. It's really not.
It's not. You didn't think it'd be this bad. All right. What's your name? Good luck to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
You guys make it out of here safe.
We're trying. I mean, it's going to take us in the Waze app at the moment. It's like 11 hours. So, yeah, we're taking back roads and attempting to get back to Philadelphia. We might get there by Halloween, I think.
Just about. You
Just
have
about.
a great day.
You too. Thanks so much for chatting with us. Okay, so we, again, here in Jacksonville, North Carolina, I was explaining we saw trains of power trucks and medical services. That's a good thing. And the other great thing today is it's finally stopped raining, so we have a moment to dry out here a little bit and get people back in order. How are you?
She's spending enough money with us.
So that's the situation here. We will keep you updated as we make our way back to the Philadelphia area. We're probably going to take us a long, long time, and we have to conserve our gas too, because as you see, this one gas line still 2.5 hours long. People are doing it. They're going to make their way, do the best they can. We'll report back shortly. Send it back to you guys.
Can you imagine? I mean, just seeing it from here exhausts me.
From Jacksonville, North Carolina, we give our thanks to Sarah Bloomquist from WPVI Philadelphia, one of our great ABC sister stations. And people were in a fairly good mood to say they've been in that line all that time.
For 2.5 hours.
Wow.
Sits and wait. Wow. I mean, you know, that's the situation in a number of areas.
Well, here is proof that 24 hours can make a whole lot of difference. Fayetteville police tweeting these side-by-side pictures. This is a look at the Cape Fear River from the Person Street Bridge. The water dramatically higher today compared to yesterday, almost reaching the bottom of that railroad span.
Wow, that is dramatic. And the Rocky River running quite high as well this afternoon. This is between Sanford and Pittsburgh. Look at that. Wow, the people shooting that video making it across with no trouble, but the water is getting closer and closer to the lip of that bridge.
And we have some new information coming in from Brunswick County, the Duke Energy nuclear power plant declaring a state of emergency.
That's right. This is video of the plant just prior to the storm, but now it is surrounded. We don't have video, sorry. But now, well, now it's surrounded by floodwaters, and we've just learned through our news gathering partners at the NNO that 300 workers there are trapped.
The plant is inaccessible to the outside personnel trying to relieve those workers. The nuclear reactor is stable, they say. They say it poses no threat to the public. It's just that the workers inside can't get out. They've been trapped there for several days now, and no new workers can get in. So we'll continue to monitor that situation there at the Brunswick nuclear plant in the Southport area, I believe it is.
Okay, so if you were around this morning in Durham, Orange County, you know that it just unloaded. And we had a lot of rain, and now we have a lot of flooding. Dwan Hogard is for us in Durham with some street flooding. Where are you, Dwan?
Well, Barbara, right now I'm in Durham at the intersection of Graymont Drive and Felicia Street. We were out here just a few moments ago, and thankfully, since the last time you guys came out to me, the water's receded just a little bit, but I do want to place a lot of emphasis on just a little bit. Still, for the folks who live out here, they're unable to make it out to their homes. I was just told by a couple of folks here that a short while ago, when the waters started to rise this morning, crews came out in boats and rescued quite a few folks here from this neighborhood, with the exception of the lady over here. Dave, I can get you to pan to your left just a little bit. With the exception of the lady here in the pink house, just had a tree branch fall right to my left. But the lady here in this pink house, I'm told that she's still inside. We ended up seeing her peek her head out just a few short moments ago. Why she did not evacuate or leave under the advisement of crews is anyone's best guess, but she is still inside her home. And anyone else who lives here, it's still a condition, as you can tell, for them not even to be able to drive down this street. Water is creeping up towards the top of mailboxes here. Also to your left, there's a white house with some red shutters over there on the side. That car in the driveway, you can tell water is up about halfway through the driver's side. And over on your right-hand side, Dave, there is a white van. A woman who lives there at the house, or one of the houses nearby, pulled up a short while ago, and she had just came home from work, and she was trying to locate her pets. She ended up leaving before the conditions got pretty bad, and then her pets, we were told that a couple of neighbors that someone came and got some of her pets, but the cat basically ran away. So she went behind a few houses over there, and just before you guys came out to us, she was standing in the front yard, peeking up into the trees to possibly see if her cat went up the tree or whatnot. But she is still here, still trying to figure out exactly how she can get to her animal. Just with these conditions out here. What I do want to do is I do want to speak with one of the residents out here, and I got to be careful to watch my step because just as you can tell to my left and my right, if I go too far, watch your step, Dave. If I go too far, because of this condition out here, it looks like it's pretty shallow, but there is a ditch that runs in the front of these homes, and from what I've been told is that the ditch was supposed to be cleaned out by crews here in Durham to allow for water to flow through to not really create this condition. Now, of course, we can't control what the rain does, but we can somewhat control with just based on what we can do construction-wise with limiting the amount of water that we have here and these flooding conditions. Michelle, you want to come this way? I can go ahead and chat with you real quick. Michelle, you were here for much of the morning. You were able to kind of see everything. Kind of walk us through what it was like for you this morning.
Okay, so this morning about 7:30, 7:45, I was taking my daughter to school, and it was just cresting the top of the road at the bottom down here. By 8:30, it was up halfway, and it's just kept coming and kept coming and kept coming since then.
And you were saying in this area, I mean, this happens a lot, but a lot of it's due to this ditch over here.
The ditch, yeah, it's clogged up. Debris and everything is in the ditch, so the water has nowhere to go.
And then I think I was speaking to your mother earlier. She was saying crews came out about a month ago to clean it.
And it hasn't helped because it's still standing. So the water's just sitting there, and it's just going to keep coming and rising until it gets to the house.
And earlier there were boats that came to rescue the folks here. And
a couple of the houses had people and their animals, and so the brown house, they rescued them, and the pink house, but I believe someone is still in the pink house, and the Cox is on the very end.
And then also at the very end, you said that family, they have some pets, and we see those pets actually just kind of hanging out, just kind of waiting until the waters recede. But they also didn't know that it was going to get this bad.
No, because it didn't. At first, you couldn't tell it was going to get this bad. Then it started raining again, and that hard rain just made it come even more. So we're just dealing with it right now.
So when you're seeing folks kind of drive in and out of this neighborhood, I mean, you even told me to watch my step, not only just because of how deep it is, but because of snakes, and don't do snakes.
Exactly, and I'm terrified, so I'm constantly looking.
But you said they're black snakes, so they are harmless, but still too close for comfort for you.
Too close for comfort for me.
I understand. Well, Michelle, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And again, she's seeing this and witnessing it firsthand. I ran up to her as she was standing on the porch out here. Just a situation you don't want to be in. And over down Felicia Street to my right, if you keep going just a little bit, you'll end up running into the Eno River. But we are told just on the other side of these trees here, there is or was a swamp, and that also kind of contributes to some of the conditions here. Is that when this water flows, it was originally designed to dump into that swamp, but because that's not happening, this is what we end up with here. So again, if you are waiting on that Amazon Prime package to arrive, it's not happening today, obviously, because of no one can make it down this road. And again, one woman who lives here in one of these homes was trying to find her cat, and I see her back here. I think she came back from the homes. I'm still unable to find her pet, and we're hoping that the folks who own these two dogs who are just laying here in the street kind of waiting for their owners, we hope that owner does come back and at least retrieve their dog. We're told one of the other families, someone else, another neighbor perhaps, came by and picked up their animals and took them to the shelter, and that was prior to these dogs actually getting out of the backyard of their home. But we're told they're friendly dogs that kind of roam the street here and there, but still that's the last thing that you want to see is just two dogs looking fairly helpless, either waiting for their owner or waiting to be able to get back to their home. But at least the good news is that since we have been here, the water has receded somewhat, and again, just that emphasis on somewhat, but still it's going to be quite some time. And there goes the woman in the green. Dave, you can kind of zoom into her. She's back in the front yard. Looks like she's on her phone, still trying to find one of her pets. So good news for her is that she is able to walk around in that area because the water has since receded. But again, just a dangerous situation. And again, want to highlight just a message from emergency crews. They're saying if you don't have to be on the roads, definitely please stay home. I mean, they obviously understand if you need to make it to work or another emergency that you just simply cannot reschedule. But if you can stay off the road so crews have access to be able to save folks here in these neighborhoods or other parts of the state, please by all means do so because they need those roads, especially first responders and rescue crews, to be able to help folks who need to be saved. So very latest for now here at the intersection of Graymont and Felicia Street in Durham. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, Dwan, thank you. I hope the owner of those dogs come back and get them.
And that lady finds her cat that's missing. Durham police tweeted a couple hours ago that Garrett Road at Durham Chapel Hill Boulevard is still closed. Old Chapel Hill Road at Garrett, Sprung Avenue at Hillendale, Cole Mill Road at Hillendale, and Fayetteville Street at Pilot. Some roads in Durham closed due to flooding.
It was a crazy morning when all that rain came down.
It really was. I mean, several different tornado warnings around the area. One for the city of Durham, which is the first in my career here. And this afternoon, the good news is most of that really bad sporadic severe weather is gone. We're still watching flooding, of course, and I do think we will see some showers around. We'll take a look at radar in just a moment. Let's get the latest on the 2 p.m. update. 2 a.m., 2 p.m. I know it's one of those. 2 p.m. update on the Cape Fear. I just updated all of this data now from the Southeast River Forecast Center. So we're going to start with the Cape Fear River at Fayetteville. Flood stage is 35. Now it's 53.1. It continues to climb. That is a new number at the Cape Fear at Fayetteville. Expected to go to 61.8 feet. That is almost 3 feet above Matthew. Manchester, this is a new flooding record at the Little River at Manchester, 18 feet. Now it's at 34, and we expect it to continue to rise a little bit more, about another half a foot or so. Little River at Manchester. Haw River at Bynum, 11 feet is the flood stage. It's up to 16 feet. Expected to crest tomorrow at 17.2. The Deep River at Moncure, flood stage is 9. It's at 15.1 now. Expected to crest about a foot higher by later today. Smithfield, flood stage is at 15. For the Neuse, it's at 18. We expect that to go down later today. It is cresting now and on its way down. That water flowing down to Goldsboro, 18 feet. The flood stage is at 25.4, expected to go to 26.1, but not until Wednesday on that one. And then finally, in Cape Fear at Lillington, flood stage is 14. It's gone up again. It continues to rise now up to almost 20 feet above flood stage, or is almost up to 20 feet, 6 feet above flood stage, and expected to crest at 24.9 feet. That is a little bit more than it did with Matthew as well. The Lumber River, the rain gauge has stopped reporting. The river gauge has stopped reporting. The last report it was at 24 feet. Expected to crest later today at 25 feet. Live look at First Alert Doppler. We've been watching this line all day, and our models show up. I think that works through between 3 and 7 tonight. This line will advance off to the east. As it does, it will bring those showers to our region. Let's zoom down in. Just 1 or 2 spotty showers right now firing through Granville County right here at the end, and then back to the west through Alamance County. Some heavy showers going on right now around Burlington. Those are lifting off to the north. This line is slowly moving east, so I do think it will work across Orange County. Right now it's about 2:30, probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock is when we'll see that work in. We'll go south as we look down into Moore County from Carthage down to Southern Pines. There are some showers down there. We're not seeing any lightning, a lightning tracker, but some rain working through. And then finally in our eastern counties from Halifax and Northampton counties, you saw those heavier showers earlier this morning. Those are now pressing off to the east. Not seeing anything in Harnett County. We did have a shower blow up along 421, work through Holly Springs, and just 1 or 2 sprinkles out there now. Live look into downtown Raleigh, 87, dew points at 77. So that's almost jungle-like when it gets up near 80 degrees. I mean, that's just, that's area wear. That's what we're seeing out there this afternoon. 72% humidity, south wind 12 miles per hour. Live look, some blue skies showing up in Durham after 4.8 inches of rain, almost 5 inches of rain today. We saw 3 inches in 2 hours today in Durham. Just unbelievable, unprecedented record rainfall rates. I know in my time here, I've never seen 6.2 inches of rain per hour as a rainfall rate. We saw that today on the radar. It was just crazy how heavy it was raining. Live look at satellite radar composite from around the region. You'll notice this line of showers back here. This little piece of energy rotates east. We're not anticipating any severe weather out of it. However, it could bring some heavier pockets of rain showers. Now the center is up here through West Virginia of Florence, tropical depression Florence, and that's lifting up to the north. Almost just an area of low pressure. We're almost done with that stupid storm. Rain sticks around as we go through the afternoon. You can see this line of showers right here. As we go toward 5, 6, 7 o'clock, it slowly advances east, and running along that line, you would see a spotty shower. Once the sun goes down, we'll lose our instability. The air becomes more stable. Most of those showers do shut off. Then as we go through the overnight, tomorrow morning, 7 a.m., may see an isolated shower. I think you'll start tomorrow with lots of humidity again as we run through the day tomorrow. And then as we go into the afternoon tomorrow by 4:30, we see some showers, some thunderstorms across the region, just widely scattered. Most places not seeing rain, but there'll be 1 or 2 around. But watch what happens as we go into Wednesday. Finally, we see blue skies, sunshine, skies clearing out, and the better weather moves in as we head into the weekend. Your 7-day forecast powered by AccuWeather. Today we'll see those temperatures topping out in the 80s. Brittany Bell is working on the forecast that takes us through Monday. But tomorrow, 87 degrees with a few showers and a few thunderstorms around. On your Wednesday, 86, lots of sunshine. Thursday, 84. Friday, 86. Saturday, first day of fall, will be the warmest day, 88 degrees, and Sunday, 85 and partly sunny. So over the next several days, you'll see those temperatures staying in the mid-80s all the way through Friday and Saturday, and then warming up on into the weekend.
Okay, thank you very much.
Sure.
Thank you. All right, our Jonah Kaplan is live for us. Bragg Boulevard in Cumberland County, seeing a lot of flooding there. Jonah?
That's a main drag, Jonah.
Right in the middle of Bragg Boulevard, major artery here, closed going in both directions and frankly flooded in both directions. Look at the scene behind me. I mean, that is a major intersection, Manchester Road, Bragg Boulevard, the main artery connecting Harnett County, Cumberland County, all those commuters into Fort Bragg. They are not getting on post today, at least not this way. Where I am standing here, I would say the water at least a foot deep. The lower Little River cresting at least 2 to 3 feet higher right now than it did during Hurricane Matthew. To my left, your right, this is the Presbyterian Church of the Covenant. And look at this. I mean, this is a place, a house of worship, full of classrooms, social hall. I mean, this is where Bible study courses would meet and potentially study Genesis, Noah, the floods. You know, it's a painful bit of irony that we're seeing this here. And we've also seen a cemetery flooded as well. That's right behind it. And we're going to try and move there in a little bit. But this is just, I mean, an amazing scene considering what we've seen over the past few days because, John and Barbara, I don't know if you remember, but I was standing, I mean, about 2 or 3 blocks that way on this bridge that I can't even get to right now. I will tell you, our car at about 11 o'clock this morning was parked right here. And we've had to move it back and then further back and then further back to the point where police are now pushing back the barriers because this over here, I don't know, Chris, can you see over here right where the cement is? This is the bridge. This is actually a major bridge over the Little River, and even that's no match. I mean, this is supposed to be the major bridge that never closes. It hasn't closed, and this is the first time now that you're seeing this kind of dramatic flooding, and it really is amazing. We were with a team from Fort Bragg. We went out on a high water vehicle. 5 rescues so far today here, Spring Lake saying that there are about another dozen from different apartment buildings and complexes. But this is just, you know, I let the pictures speak for themselves. Again, let's turn this around and just look at that. How many people have driven down here on the way to post or coming back home and now covered? I would suspect in about an hour or two you won't even be able to see the yellow lines because the water will be that deep. John, Barbara?
That is pretty amazing. And again, as Jonah was saying, that's a major thoroughfare in the Fayetteville, Fort Bragg area. I've never seen it like that. Thanks, Jonah.
Thank you, Jonah. Our Ed Crump is in Elm City after a tornado went through and touched down, and he's seeing some amazing stories and hearing amazing stories from people who survived it.
Yeah, Barbara, we are inside the Pittman home in Elm City. This is the back door entrance. Look at this. Kitchen looks like your normal kitchen. Nothing unusual at all. Check out this den. That is a little unusual, folks. That's where a pine tree came crashing through this morning when they had a tornado touch down here in Elm City around 7 a.m. We're going to cut around through the living room and give you a shot from in here back into that room. Photographer Skeeter Courier. Skeeter, if you can just go in there and show them. If you were tuned in earlier, folks, you know that the Pittman's 9-year-old grandson, Taylor Barnes, spent the night here with them last night. He was in that room about 10 minutes before the tornado spawned by the tropical storm hit here. They got warnings on their phones. They said they heard the alerts, and they said it was definitely a warning, not a watch, and it was a warning that it was coming to Elm City. They ran and jumped, I believe, into this closet right here. And they got, I don't know if it's that closet or another one, but they told me they did get in a closet, and that's when they could hear the tornado overhead making all kinds of racket, and then they heard a loud boom and felt the entire house vibrate. And that's when they realized that they had been hit by this tornado. A lot of other trees came down all over Elm City. A lot of them hit houses. Most glanced off or did a little roof damage. None came through like this. This was the very worst damage, and no one was injured here. No one was injured anywhere in Elm City. We're happy to report. But I want you to take one more look at this because this is absolutely amazing that a 9-year-old boy was in this room just 10 minutes before that pine tree came through. Outside, the pine tree is absolutely absolutely massive, and it's taken them all morning. This thing hit at 7 o'clock this morning, and it's taken them all morning to get that pine tree off this house using heavy equipment and chainsaws. They finally got it off, and if you hear a tapping noise in the background, they're putting up tarps over the roof right now. This family tells me that they are so grateful that they look at this damage and it doesn't even faze them, because their grandson's okay, and they were quite emotional about that. They said, look, we can rebuild and repair. By the way, they've lived in this house over 40 years. They were born and raised here in Elm City. They're natives of Elm City, and they're not worried about this at all because their grandson is fine. And John and Barbara, before I toss it back to you, I'm going to tell you one weird thing. It's really cool inside this house. The electricity never went out. The air conditioner is still running in here.
That is amazing.
How about that? All right. Well, thank you, and give our best to the folks there for letting us get an inside look at their damage.
So glad no one is hurt.
Yeah.
That's the best part.
Well, you know, many residents of Cumberland County are being advised still to stay off the roads, as you've been hearing. Anthony Wilson is in Hope Mills, where flooding is still a major concern.
Some people insist on doing this when they roll up on a water-covered roadway. Others like to hang out in the water. It's a familiar sight here in Hope Mills, and you're looking at the legacy of Florence's high winds and heavy rain.
Floodwaters coming down from the dam, and as you can see, it's not completely overtaken the bridge, but we're cautiously optimistic.
Hope Mills Town Manager Melissa Adams issued a heads-up statement overnight,
urging the citizens to just please stay off the road. If you don't have a reason to be on the road, if you're not going to and from work or a medical issue, we've had a lot of people out just looking.
That may be easier said than done. The high water's attracting the curious as well as people like Thomas Jarrett. He's seen worse during his long life.
A lot worse. It goes all the way up to where those signs are at the top of the hill. And that little store right there completely got covered with water last time.
I understand during the last big hurricane that the water rose to the level of those traffic signals. Is that true?
That's true. It was pretty deep, and that lasted for weeks.
But if you do live in Hope Mills and you, like Mr. Jarrett, are familiar with the area, don't come out here. We've said it many times. Turn around, don't drown. You could definitely get in trouble here, so avoid the area.
You don't want a shock from a downed, wet utility line.
This has got to come down before the power company can get back in here and re-energize it. We've got to begin cleanup, debris, and unnecessary road traffic is just going to be a hindrance. We need to give our first responders, our police, our fire, and our public works, give them the room to be able to get out and do what they need to do without having to worry about people unnecessarily on the road.
You can always visit when the water's back to normal. Reporting from Hope Mills, Anthony Wilson, ABC11 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, when the water's back to normal, that could be a while.
Yes. Well, people from across the country are here in North Carolina helping people in need.
Morgan Norwood talking to the American Red Cross volunteers at a staging area in Fayetteville.
American Red Cross crews from all over the country, Texas, Minnesota, you name it, loading up right now, taking these supplies to the hardest hit areas impacted by Hurricane Florence. And these are the volunteers that are putting our community back together. The American Red Cross Disaster Relief has teams positioned all across the state from all across the country.
Kentucky, Iowa, Tucson, Arizona.
From water to MREs, plates, cutlery, you name it, anything that these shelters are going to need to survive the next couple of days or so, the Red Cross is supplying it. If you see a Red Cross member out and about in your community, do me this one favor, hug them, thank them, because they're getting Fayetteville, the Sandhills, and the entire state back on its feet. And as you can see, these are just some of the hundreds of volunteers positioned across the state that have dedicated their time to helping those in need. In Fayetteville, I'm Morgan Norwood, ABC11 Eyewitness News.
ABC11 Together is coordinating a fundraising effort to help the thousands of people affected by Florence. You can text Florence to 90999 to make a $10 donation to the Red Cross relief efforts.
So many of you have been reaching out asking how you can help. We have details about how to donate and help storm victims right now on our website, abc11.com/together. You'll also find information there about shelters if you still need them, how to get help from FEMA, and what counts as price gouging. There is a price gouging law in North Carolina, but what counts as price gouging? And we thank you in advance for your generosity.
ABC11 Together is teaming up with the Red Cross to make it easy for you to help those impacted by Hurricane Florence. And we'll host a phone bank tomorrow starting at 6 in the morning and running through 7 o'clock tomorrow night. So be sure to join us for our Hurricane Florence relief drive to learn how you can help.
Folks in the heart of Carolina are always very generous, so looking forward to that tomorrow.
Very. Now, many of you posting on social media the photos of the damage in your area.
Let's go to Andrea Blandford taking a look at some of those posts on Facebook and Twitter. She joins us at the big board with more. Andrea?
Yeah, John and Barbara, I've been checking out all of the different images coming into our tag board right here. Use that hashtag ABC11, by the way, but let me start showing you just some of the damage that we've been watching here on social media. We have this photo right here. This gentleman saying that this is from Maysville, North Carolina. You can see the water level just all the way up to this house submerged there on that lower level. Several more pictures just like it. This person right here saying that the flooding is real. This is a boat launch that's underwater right here. People who live on the waterway and rivers, please be safe. That's an urgent call to anybody who is still finding themselves in one of these flooded areas on this Monday. This right here is from High Falls, North Carolina, a deep river, and this is one, we've seen this so many times. This is very familiar to us now after seeing the water levels rising along all of our waterways across many parts of North Carolina today as well. This person right here, just wow, that is just amazing. Turn around, don't drown. We say that all the time, but we have all of these people stuck on a flooded road here. Someone actually crawled onto the roof of their car, the hood of their car, to try to get some help. This person, Jedediah Gant, this is hard to see. He posted this picture. Look at this water level and the garage door right there. He says, this is 1 block from my parents' house in Lumberton. Much worse than Matthew, and it is still raining. So I believe he must have posted that yesterday at some point. It's our own Joe Mazer sharing this photo of Buffalo Creek Greenway in Smithfield. He even made the comment that the Division of Wildlife sign reads life jacket zone. And boy, oh boy, is he right about that. That's a good call for sure, as we've seen the water levels continue to rise there. Just some more serious damage. This is actually in South Carolina, I believe, just the hangars that have been destroyed at the Marion County Airport right there. Let's see, some more road closures here, road conditions across most of North Carolina. This is from the DOT when they were tweeting out warnings because the road conditions were deteriorating. And of course, we were warning you of that as well yesterday and into today. You've seen our reporters out in the field talking about all the flooded roadways and just the threat that still remains today, even though we are still, we're actually several days out from when Florence made landfall. Yep, I guess not. This is a radio tower underwater right here. You have all of the power crews too, just heading east. This is pretty amazing right here. All of them heading east as a lot of us were trying to stay out. And we know that several parts of our state in eastern North Carolina are off limits right now to the public because these utility crews, they've had to make their way in and try to restore power. This is along the Neuse River right here. Look at how high the water level was at this point when James posted this photo right here from Raleigh. The Skycrest Neuse River Greenway Bridge. That was at 6 o'clock. And of course, things have deteriorated much more since then. The city of Raleigh, we know that they've been out there, crews too, trying to take care of downed trees. They've been cutting those up so that utility crews can get to work. This was actually at Dix Park, if you know that area very well. So these are just some of the photos that we've been tracking coming into social media. We're going to continue looking at storm damage as it comes in, but we need your help. So if you see storm damage where you are, stay safe, get to a safe place. But do, if you could, snap a photo just so we know what we're dealing with and we know where to go out and get some questions answered for you. Use that hashtag ABC11. John and Barbara.
Thank you, Andrea.
All right, let's continue our live coverage now. Diane Wilson has been broadcasting from Wilmington for more than a week now, and she joins us again. But I see dry ground there where you are, Diane.
That's why I'm smiling, John, because we have had a lot of rain here and finally a break today to dry some things out, and we are drying things out. This road where I stand was flooded, residents say, all the way up to here, to their thighs. And what's amazing is if you can take a look at the damage this storm caused here, we are actually in the north end of Wilmington. We are in North Chase Development, and you can see these trees, all 4 of them, uprooted by their roots, totally over. On the other side, same exact picture here. We can have big trees like this, totally up, the wind gust picked them up from their roots all the way down. Now, what is amazing to me is just how strong this storm was when Florence came through, because we're talking about a few days afterwards, and we're taking a look at this damage while this was flooded. Take a look at this tree, what it did. Totally ripped up the grass, the pillar. I've never seen anything like that. This is a tree behind us. This was a tree root, huge tree root right here, and totally ripped up. This is her driveway, totally ripped it all over. Huge tree down right there. I mean, I've seen a lot of trees down. This is the first time I saw it actually pick up the whole entire sod grass area like this. You can see this is a huge tree totally down on that home over there here along, this is a new Chase development. Let me get the exact street that we're on. Edward Hyde Place. And they don't have power. They haven't had power since the storm hit. You can hear a generator going there. But as you continue to go through this neighborhood, I mean, this tree fell on this house here. This is what you're seeing throughout this whole entire neighborhood. A lot of water rescues happened here too, back in the height of the storm. They said the water finally receded, which is obviously the good news. The problem now, the cleanup. That's going to take a large time to clean all of that up. Also, they still have no power here. Now, we do know Duke Energy crews, we have canvassed Wilmington, and we have seen them everywhere. So they are restoring power. They have a plan. They're on the main roads. It's going to take time to get to these neighborhoods. And so the residents are happy here that at least the water's gone, the flooding is gone, but the cleanup process, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. This is a big process here. And so some other highlights out of Wilmington that we've had, the bridge into Carolina Beach and Curry Beach, that did open today at noon to residents. So they're finally open to get into that area and to assess the damage, what happened there. Wrightsville Beach, still closed off. You can't get into Wrightsville Beach. But as far as Wilmington itself, residents are a little on edge because right now you can't get into Wilmington. The roads, they're flooded, the main roads are flooded, and they're not going to open those roads, even the water recedes, until the DOT can get out there and inspect the bridges, inspect the roads to make sure they're okay. So really there's no way into Wilmington, there's no way out of Wilmington, unless you're going to maneuver your way through some side roads and figure it out that way. The also good news for residents, FEMA supplies are here. New Hanover County is getting ready to release where they're going to set up those 3 different locations to serve people. They have meals, supplies to get to the people that have not been able to get to the grocery store. Very few are open, and gas. Gas is a major problem here. If you find a gas station open, the line is crazy. And so not getting any better yet, except for the weather is giving us a break and the rainwater is receding, but we are still keeping our eyes on that Cape Fear River because the water is not supposed to crest until tomorrow. John and Barbara?
So Diane, how are you and your photographer getting around with the gas shortage there in Wilmington?
Well, thankfully, we did come prepared. We brought a lot of gas cans, and so we're getting refilled that way because we have our own supply. We have not, since we've Wednesday, we have not been able to fill up at a gas station for that main reason because all of them basically shut down on Wednesday. We also, fortunately, thanks to our station and network, we did have a fuel truck that was fueling it, but we conserve. We do. I mean, we have not had air conditioning on in our cars. We're conserving everywhere we go because we want to make sure people know what's happening. We have a lot of this particular neighborhood residents or people in Raleigh who evacuated asked me to check out this neighborhood for them because they still can't get back. Evacuees are saying, do not come back. Stay where you're at with the food, the water, and a shelter. Because if you get here, yes, you can see what your home looks like. You do not have power. The grocery stores are only open until 6 p.m. because there's a curfew in place from 8 o'clock at night till 6 a.m. So even if you get here, good luck getting to a grocery store. We would love to get to a grocery store. We have not actually found food yet today, but the line is so long, we'd be waiting in it for at least an hour. But we see people definitely getting out to assess the damage. As you see, you can come on by. You can see people getting on by because this neighborhood, everywhere you go, this tree here, well, I thought, like, if you might think this is unique, it's unique that it picked up the whole entire grass and the light poles there. But we've seen just trees like this, that big, on top of houses over and over again throughout this neighborhood. They say this area is known for flooding, but they've never seen it up to like their thighs and waist. A lot of water rescues here. When the eye of the storm Florence came through, people kind of thought they were in the clear after that. This was into Friday night, early Saturday morning. We got a huge second band of rain and wind out here, and that's where a lot of water rescues, over 400 water rescues happened here in Hanover County. And so it's far from over as far as, yes, the rain's over, the sun's shining, but it's still, if you don't have power for that long, they're going on day 4 to day 5, that's pretty hard. And then, because you've lost all your food, anything you did have in your refrigerators, hopefully they're prepared with things, but they're wanting to get out, and they're like, we need gas and we need groceries, and both those things, if you find it, it's going to take a long time to get it.
All right, Diane Wilson in Wilmington, thank you so much.
Yeah, I think we had, what was the Facebook Live? Sarah Bloomquist from PVI was talking to this guy. He'd waited 2.5 hours to get gas, and he was saying to people who wanted to come back, don't, because there are no grocery stores, there's no power, and you have to wait 2.5 hours or longer to get gas. So just stay where you are until everything is back up and running.
By the way, we welcome meteorologist Brittany Bell back for another shift, and what a mess.
Yeah, you know, even though we have some sunshine out there, we still have issues, and that's going to be the case for the remainder of the week. You know, Florence, it was slow moving, and the aftermath is going to be slow as well as those rivers continue to rise. And even this morning we had showers producing various tornado warnings across the area. At least the good news right now, we don't have widespread rain, but we still do have a few showers lifting to the north. Most of that rain, the heaviest activity, that is now moving through Alamance County, tracking through Burlington. That is tracking to the northeast. Also looking at a stronger storm in eastern sections of Northampton County. Showers and storms moving through Virginia. Things are dry in Wake County, Smithfield. A little light sprinkle just to the west of Fuquay, but that has fallen apart. Also looking at a few sprinkles in Chatham County. Heavier rain, though, that is tracking towards you in Carthage. And then in the remainder of the Sandhills, overall things are quiet. Now, we did have a few isolated tornado warnings this morning, and right now we still have a marginal risk for severe weather. That is for spots along and north of Raleigh. Can't rule out a breeze spin-out tornado, but overall that threat will continue to diminish throughout the evening. Timing out our rain chances, will continue to have a broken line of a few pop-up storms heading through around 6 to 7 this evening. And then as we get closer to midnight, overall, most of that moisture clearing out. We could maybe see a spotty shower off to the west, but overall things will dry out, but we'll still have cloudy skies. And it's going to be quite muggy. Not done with the rain just yet on Tuesday, but tomorrow morning we'll have dry conditions, mostly cloudy skies. But throughout Tuesday afternoon, we'll have another round of scattered showers and storms across the area, with most of that rain clearing out late Tuesday evening. So even though the rain chances are going down once again, those rivers continue to rise. Here's a look at the Cape Fear River in Lillington. That is well above flood stage at 19 feet. That's going to crest on Tuesday at near 25 feet. In Lumberton, up to 24 feet, cresting today at 25 feet. Looking at updates from that at the hour. For the Neuse River in Smithfield, 18.9 feet cresting today. Goldsboro, 25 feet. By Wednesday, getting close to 26 feet. And then for the Cape Fear River, that is now at 53 feet by Tuesday, getting as high as 61 feet across the area. For the Little River in Manchester, now at 34, and that's expected to crest today as well. Looking at the Haw River, we had some questions about that near Bynum. 16 feet cresting tomorrow at 17, and at Moncure, the Deep River, now at 15 feet by Monday, getting as high as 16 feet. So looking at those comparisons from Florence, from Matthew, the Tar River and Tarboro still well below that Matthew crest, more the same for the Neuse River and Smithfield, and the Neuse River in Goldsboro 3 feet below that, but a totally different scenario comparing the Cape Fear River and the Little River from the Matthew crest. The Cape Fear River in Lillington, that's going to be about 5 feet above that, 2 feet in Fayetteville, and more of the same in Manchester. But right now, looking outside, we have mostly cloudy skies. In Durham, southwest winds around 11 miles per hour, picking up close to 5 inches of rainfall across the area. So as we head throughout the remainder of the evening, we'll continue to have a few spotty showers around. We'll have one more day of scattered rain heading into Tuesday afternoon. So looking at scattered showers and storms, but for the remainder of the week, overall things will dry out, but we'll still still have to watch those river levels across the area, but at least we'll see more sunshine, not dealing with as much rainfall across the area, and overall looking at improving conditions. And that's due to the fact that the center of Florence that is finally gaining some speed, pulling away from us, bringing all of that rainfall now across the northeast.
And finally, moving out, and the rain is beginning to stop falling, which will help those river levels, even though some are not cresting until Wednesday.
Yeah, and then at least giving people the opportunity to clean up without having to deal with rainfall and multiple tornado warnings like the last few days.
Because that has been frustrating and overwhelming.
Yes, it has.
Thank you, Brittany.
All right, our thanks to John Clark and Barbara Gibbs. Tisha and I are taking over here in the 3 o'clock hour. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be with you. We're expecting a news conference from Raleigh from the Secretary of Homeland Security in town from Washington to update us on the recovery effort. We'll have that on the other side of this break.
Watching the situation.
It's been an incredible number of days.
We've just rewritten the history books.
The Coast Guard rescuing flood victims, asking residents to please seek higher ground.
I downloaded the app and I've been following all of your team.
Water levels continue to rise.
Up until Floyd, we had never seen anything of this nature.
I could be dead. It was that close.
Band after band of very heavy rain.
We got each other and we're going to go pull through.
We knew we had to go above and beyond.
Everybody pulls together and just makes it through this together.
You're watching ABC11 Eyewitness News.
It is now 3 o'clock. Welcome to our continuing coverage here on Eyewitness News. I'm Steve Daniels with Tisha Powell. John Clark and Barbara Gibbs and the rest of the team have been here for the past 12 hours. We're going to take over for the next 12 hours as the rivers keep rising and this flooding emergency continues across the state. So we want to bring you the latest, what's coming in right now. It's a storm blamed now for the deaths of at least 19 people. It's a storm that has spawned tornadoes this morning, leaving damage behind in Elm City and Wilson County.
Heavy rain caused new flooding issues in Orange and Durham counties this morning. The river levels in the Sandhills continue to rise, putting those homes and property in jeopardy.
We have more details coming in on a story that's been unfolding at the nuclear power plant in Brunswick County in Southport. That's the Duke Energy plant, the Brunswick plant, declaring a state of emergency. And this is video of the plant just prior to the storm, but now it's surrounded by floodwater. That was the view from Chapter 11 HD. We told you before the storm hit that they were going to be shutting down the reactors, but keeping people there to keep an eye on things.
Initial reports indicated 300 workers may be trapped inside, unable to get out. However, Duke Energy now telling us the workers can leave and their replacements are getting in. Some surrounding roads are washed out there, but workers are not trapped inside. The nuclear reactor is stable and poses no threat to public safety. It's just the workers inside can't get out, and now new workers can get in.
So there was some initial concern. We've been working on nailing down the reporting on that. Obviously, no risk to the reactor itself. It was just the employees who were having trouble getting out because of the washed out roads. But that situation is now normal. Nothing to be concerned about there at the nuclear power plant run by Duke Energy in Southport. Now to the devastation from Florence. The system is now a tropical depression, as you know, but it's still causing so much damage across the Carolinas because of the flooding risk that continues. The governor warning it has never been more dangerous than it is right now, and it will continue to be dangerous in the days ahead as rivers continue cresting.
The storm has forced more than 900 rescues we've seen over the past few days, and much of the Carolinas under a flash flood watch or warnings. The worst is yet to come in some areas. We have this report from Amy Robach.
On the fourth day of Florence's fury, the unrelenting task of rescuing the stranded and those whose lives are at risk is more crucial than ever. Rescue teams from as far as Los Angeles pulling drivers from submerged cars, as helicopters race to cities almost completely cut off by rising waters. We joined a Coast Guard rescue team as they set out to help those still trapped.
With so many roads flooded and impassable in this area, these Coast Guard helicopters become an absolute lifeline for people who have medical emergencies in the storm zone.
This woman telling me she is suffering from appendicitis and couldn't leave her flooded home. Another man desperately in need of oxygen. Animals too being pulled to safety. These dogs were stranded in the rising water, their dramatic rescue caught on camera with little time to spare. Overnight, officials believe those floodwaters are to blame for this train pushed off its tracks with a payload of hazardous material. Over 2 feet of rain has fallen and no relief in sight.
That's enough to cause flooding in areas that have never flooded before. Floodwaters are still raging across parts of our state, and the risk to life is rising with the angry waters.
With one dam at Fayetteville already failing, spilling millions of gallons of water rushing into streets and homes. Nearly 700,000 people left without power as homeowners start returning to assess the catastrophic damage to their properties. One man just getting over the damage imposed by Hurricane Matthew 2 years ago.
My family had been here since the 60s. Never seen any sort of flooding like this until Floyd. And we thought, well, that's a 500-year flood. Now it seems the 500-year floods come every other year. How do you plan for that?
But government officials warning the worst is yet to come.
If you are refusing to leave during this mandatory evacuation, then you need to notify your legal next of kin, because the loss of life is very, very possible.
And really, it's so hard for so many of our communities right now as the rivers continue rising. The flooding is going to continue, and we're going to be covering this emerging disaster for so many counties in the days ahead.
Seeing the water go up by feet is just an amazing sight.
Yeah, and some of those rivers are cresting right now, and even though it's sunny out there, that flooding danger is still a big threat. So if you see a road that's covered in water, you still need to turn around, don't drown. I know it might be an inconvenience, but you know your life is worth an extra 5 or 10 minutes as you head home. So right now we have a few scattered showers across the area. This morning was actually very active. We had multiple tornado warnings, actually a few reports of tornado sightings and tornado damage. The National Weather Service will have to go out there and confirm that. In Mecklenburg County around 10:38, there was a report of damage to a residence and numerous trees down. We had a couple of reports there in Wilson near Elm City, trees down. Also minor structural damage to homes on Leo Drive and Lynn Haven Drive and Watson Lane. That was around 7:07 this morning. Farther to the south in Goldsboro, trees reported down on William Court. Looking at about 3 reports of tornado damage just to the north of Goldsboro. So once again, the National Weather Service will have to go out and survey the damage to see if a tornado did touch down and the strength of that. Right now, though, looking at showers and storms, some actually pretty strong storms moving through Alamance County. That is tracking northeast towards Orange County. Also looking at a shower in western sections of Person County. A stronger storm in eastern Northampton County. Across the Triangle, it is dry for the most part. Just looking at an isolated sprinkle in northern Chatham County. Also more the same just to the south of Siler City. Heavy rain coming down in Carthage, not seeing any lightning with that. And for the remainder of the Sandhills, things are fairly dry. Just looking at a little light sprinkle moving through western Sampson County. That severe risk is highest off to the north in Virginia. That's where we have some tornado warnings right now. We still have that threat just off to the north of Raleigh, but overall that severe potential potential will go down throughout the evening. Timing out our rain chances, still looking at scattered rain through around 6 to 7 this evening. Some of that could be heavy at times, but then notice heading throughout tonight. Overall, most of that moisture clearing out. We'll have mostly cloudy skies. We'll still have the opportunity for a little rain on Tuesday. Now, tomorrow morning will be dry across the area, but heading throughout Tuesday afternoon, that's when we'll have those hit or miss storms across the region. Those rain chances will be highest, especially along the north of Raleigh. Here's a look at the latest river levels. As I mentioned earlier, some of those are already cresting today. The Cape Fear River in Lillington, that is now at 19 feet. That's going to crest on Tuesday near 25 feet. The Lumber River in Lumberton now at 24 feet, expected to crest today at 25. Looking at the Neuse River, now at 18.9 feet, cresting today. The Neuse River in Goldsboro, 25.4 feet. That will get as high as 26 feet on Wednesday. And even after that crest, it's going to take some time for those levels to go down. So this will be an issue throughout the remainder of the week. The Cape Fear River in Fayetteville now at 53 feet, expected to get as high as 61 feet on Tuesday. And then the Little River in Manchester cresting today at 34 feet. The Haw River, that is now at 16 feet. That will get as high as 17 on Tuesday tomorrow. And then the Deep River in Moncure, that will get as high as 16 later this afternoon. Looking outside though in Fayetteville, we do have more sunshine, a few puffy clouds out and about. Southwest winds a bit breezy near 15 to 16 miles per hour. Very humid out there, up to 87 degrees. We have just a broken line of showers and storms stretching down from Greensboro all the way throughout our western counties. Overall, that will gradually push off to the east, but we do have the center of Florence now pushing into southern Pennsylvania and West Virginia, bringing all of that moisture across New England, but that is finally moving away from our area. So Florence will continue to track away from us, pushing off to the northeast, but as that moves away, it's still able to draw in a little moisture tomorrow. That's why we'll have the opportunity for a few pop-up showers. And then on Wednesday, a big improvement. We'll have high pressure settling in, that sinking air, and that's going to lead to drier weather. So we'll see more sunshine and also saying goodbye to the rainfall. And that humidity could drop a little bit as well, actually making it feel a little bit better. Also looking at things higher up in the atmosphere, that green indicating very moist air. Notice by Wednesday and Thursday, we'll have a lot more brown, showing things drying out as a ridge of high pressure also built in higher up in the atmosphere. So tomorrow we'll have high temperatures, actually a tad bit above average, near 86 degrees in Raleigh, 88 degrees in Fayetteville, 85 in Durham. It's going to be very warm and muggy tomorrow. Southwest winds between 5 and 10 miles per hour. We'll have those scattered storms around. And then for the remainder of our 7-day forecast, powered by AccuWeather, finally seeing an improvement in the forecast Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. More sunshine with high temperatures in the 80s. Morning lows actually dipping down into the upper 60s. Fall starts on Saturday, and then by Sunday and Monday, a chance for a few pop-up storms here and there, but overall nothing widespread. Finally getting a break from the rainfall Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and at least through the first half of the weekend.
And that is good news. I cannot believe the amount of rain that fell this morning after the last few days, just when you think it's almost over.
Yeah, and even, just seeing the sunshine, even though we still have those high river levels, it just kind of helps your mood.
Yeah.
Just finally seeing the sun coming out.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brittany.
We are using every resource we have right now to get out and take a look at what is happening across the state. And this is some video we just have in right now. It's an exclusive video right now. U.S. Army touring the damage from Hurricane Florence across North Carolina. Joel Brown is on this flight. He's the only reporter on this flight. This is General Mark Milley. He is the Chief of Staff of the U.S. Army. This is a little video we were sent mid-flight. And as you can see here, they are taking a tour. According to Joel, he started the day at the EOC when General Milley and the governor were talking things over. And now Joel is actually on this Black Hawk helicopter with the door open, with our photojournalist there, taking a look across the state at the response. We know that Joel has been over Onslow County at various times. He's been over rural parts of eastern North Carolina, and most recently, Joel, according to his Twitter feed, says he's looking at the Marine Ocean Terminal Sunny Point, one of the largest military terminals in the world. So they're getting various glimpses across eastern North Carolina right now. I'm looking forward to Joel's full reporting when he gets back on the ground after that tour on a Black Hawk helicopter, taking a look at what's happening there across eastern North Carolina. As I say, we're using all of our resources. We have Chopper 11 HD up in the air taking tours across the area. We have our news crews on the field out and about as well. And we have a news conference and a tour with Governor Cooper. We're expecting to get that feed in, a live feed from New Bern, where the governor is on the ground taking a look at the damage. We expect that to be coming in any minute. So we'll have that to you live as it happens here in the minutes ahead.
And these tours are so important because the first step in recovery is assessing the damage and going around and seeing exactly how bad it is. And of course, the coastal areas seem to be hit harder than our areas more inland, but we are still watching this flooding, and the worst may be yet to come in some communities.
Yeah, absolutely. Take a look at this. This is the Cape Fear River in Harnett County. This is some really amazing drone video. That's the Cape Fear Bridge in Irwin. That is at about 10:15 this morning. Governor Cooper calling this, as you've heard, an epic storm and an absolutely monumental disaster for our state. This is from Paul Jones from Pinnacle Eye Productions. He put his drone up in the air, and it really helps us understand when we're talking about the flooding associated with the Cape Fear River, what we're dealing with here. And this is a great shot. Take a look at this, and it really helps you understand what's happening in so many communities, even a long distance away from the river. Look at back there in the woods. Look at all that flood water. This is something when these rivers get above flood stage, the water has nowhere else to go, obviously. It can't just stay within the banks of the river. It's out of the banks, and look at that. It just goes for such a great distance around. And as we look at this drone video here, it's hard to tell there in Irwin if there are any concerns about homes right there. But this is exactly the concern we've been talking about for the past few days along the Cape Fear River as it winds its way from there in Harnett County down into Cumberland County, where there is that evacuation zone, mandatory evacuations for people who live within a mile of the Cape Fear River. And initially we were wondering about that mile radius around the Cape Fear River, but when you see this, it really makes sense. You can understand what we're dealing with, how expansive this floodwater is, and how quickly it's rising up to those roadways. So that is the real concern in the days ahead there along the Cape Fear River, and Chris and Brittany are keeping a close watch on those crest levels and the river levels, and they're updating us really every half hour. So stick with us for those updated river gauge levels that we're getting in.
Yeah, that river's already spilling their banks. Jonah was out by the Little River, and they had moved the gauge up higher there, and it's already up there. It's just happening really, really quickly, as city and state officials had warned people that they needed to really take this evacuation seriously, because you can see the river, and then you can see, you know, the brown spots far out beyond the river itself. So the water is spreading, and it's spreading into homes, it's spreading into communities where people live, where there are businesses, and it's really a dire situation. A lot of rain we got in the Triangle area last night, raining buckets overnight. This is video showing flooding around 5 this morning in the Brickwood condominiums on Estes Drive in Chapel Hill. And this is an area that floods quite often, so we knew that with more rain, the creek was going to rise and there was going to be some problems there. The water was up to front doors. Our crew on the scene said that none of the apartments saw any flooding inside the apartments, but we knew with the water coming in that this was probably going to be one of the trouble spots there in Chapel Hill, right off Estes Drive.
Yeah, and then today the floodwaters receded a little bit, and so many residents and business owners along there, they're trying to figure out how to clean up as well. That was really a rough night last night after those evacuations, officials going door to door getting people out of there. We were getting word about that just around midnight last night when that started emerging as a threat in Orange County. Take a look at this. We have this live feed coming in from South Carolina right now. This is a live feed showing people, this is a SCDOT shot coming in, and those are people returning to Myrtle Beach. So that you can see the traffic there. You can see what look like power trucks there on the side of the road, and a lot of people are just trying to get back to their coastal communities and sort out what's going on, figure out what the damage was left behind. And it's been really a couple of days of anxiety since Florence moved out of those coastal communities in both North and South Carolina. People wondering what's left of their homes, what kind of damage they may or may not have. As we've been telling you, in North Carolina and New Hanover County, the bridge just opened back to Carolina and Curie Beach for residents at noon. So people there are getting their way back in to see what's happening, as are people here in this live feed you're seeing from South Carolina. People are making their way back to Myrtle Beach.
One of the areas we've been zeroing in on lately that we've really been concerned about is Cumberland County, Harnett County, those areas along the Cape Fear River, the Little River, where the water is continuing to rise. We are going to go back to Bragg Boulevard, where Jonah Kaplan is now. And Jonah, I see you, well, a little bit earlier you had to have your hip waders on. Are you still wearing your hip waders?
No, in fact, because we came to a place, this is probably one of the more sobering scenes, and out of respect for those who have passed, I'm not going to go in this water. This is Riverview Memorial. This is a cemetery adjacent to the Presbyterian Church of the Covenant, and wow, I mean, you cannot see the gravestones, the tombstones. Our photojournalist Chris Hart, if you could maybe zoom in at least on some of those bouquets that have managed to float. But there's no telling how many of our loved ones are resting here underwater. Their markers invisible because of the rising Little River. And the water just here continues to rise. It's remarkable how many times we've actually had to move our car. And if you can move back with me this way, Chris, we're going to show you down now to Bragg Boulevard. Walk with me at least and zoom in. As you can see, I mean, that is now underwater. Right down there, about 500 feet from here, that's the bridge over the Little River, and it's no match. If you remember, Steve and Tisha, we were standing at the bridge, at another bridge, kind of adjacent to that. We could see the barriers. We were sitting next to the river gauge. Impassable right now. Can't even get there. Those concrete barriers were also kind of a makeshift line of where Hurricane Matthew, the water came up to. And now it is far surpassed that. So really, really amazing stuff. And it just, look, it's a beautiful sunny day. And again, you just see this power of Hurricane Florence leaving her mark well after she's moved on from here.
So just to be clear, Jonah, you said that the gauge that was raised over the Little River, the water did make it up to that point.
It did. It did, in fact. And I don't know if we have video queued up from what we were able to see earlier. First, we went in a high water vehicle with the U.S. Army from here at Fort Bragg, and we saw some rescues. And we saw two people trudging through that water with holding a dog. I know that Spring Lake Police did about 10 to 15 rescues today through some of these neighborhoods. And they were also able to, look at some of the trailer parks and some of the apartment buildings that would be, not that they would be underwater, but they would be impassable. And if there was some sort of emergency and an ambulance had to get through, you couldn't just go through there. And see if you could see now some of the video from that Manchester Bridge. Yeah, the water is right up to where that gauge was, where they just raised the other day. Really stunning stuff. It was almost kind of hard to believe when we were there with the U.S. Geological Survey saying, no, we have to raise this. It's possible. It's going to come up here. It came up there. It did. And that water is powerful.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And Jonah, we're showing the video here of the cemetery where you're standing, and it's just, I know it's so heartbreaking for so many families there who have buried their loved ones in that cemetery. To wonder what's happening there, and when we see flooding like that, the worry is that sometimes caskets can wash away, and I can't see how quickly the water is, if it's pooling there or if it's actually rushing by, but we have to hope that things are secure enough in the ground that there's not that worry.
It is, but I mean, this is a place where some people may come, some people may have their loved ones here, but how many people have driven on Bragg Boulevard down to Post? How many people have come from their homes, their businesses, either to Post, from Post? I mean, how many people are commuting this way? And then to see this road just empty like this, I think that's a really stark contrast to what would normally be here on a Monday afternoon. And again, the weather outside today, pleasant. No rain, blue sky, but it's the water that has come from everywhere else. Everyone's yards, driveways, all the neighborhoods, they come into the drain, they go down the drain, they spill into the creeks, and the creeks spill into the rivers. And this is what we have.
And as you point out, it's a little deceiving. We see the sun coming out. We think we're finally getting a break. We are getting a break from the rain, but the rivers continue flowing at record heights. They keep rising, especially there in the Sandhills where you are. You're downriver from us in this part of the state, and all that runoff that we've had from that very heavy rain even last night is going to continue flowing down there, and that's why we're concerned about the rivers not cresting in some cases until Wednesday.
And it's going to go somewhere else, Steve. The Little River feeds into the Cape Fear River. And again, the water just has to get, this is civil engineering. And when people are, when towns are planning new developments, or people are planning, go back 100 years when you're even planning new settlements or anywhere where there are buildings, everyone has to have what's called stormwater treatment plans. And it's, where is the water going to go when it rains? 100 years ago, 200 years ago, this was all forest. This was all, greenery, and the soil absorbed the water. Well, now you have roads, you have tar, you have concrete, and the water has to go somewhere that is not absorbed into the ground. So it's one of those consequences of development that you take away kind of a natural habitat where the water would seep into the ground, but instead now it flows somewhere. And when you have these kind of historical floods, you see where we can't, or nature can't keep up with us.
Yeah. Jonah, very good point. I appreciate it. We're going to check back in with you in just a few minutes, but we want to go now to Raleigh, to the State Emergency Operations Center, where the nation's Homeland Security Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen, is here helping guide the recovery effort. There she is. There's the nation's Homeland Security Secretary in town from Washington with an update.
Before the storm, during the storm, and again as we move forward through this. It really requires a highly coordinated effort. I know you've heard a lot about that, but it can't really be stressed more. So in the federal family, we're doing all we can to make sure we have that unity of effort. But it's our state partners that begin with the governor that really bring to bear what we have for the communities. So I want to thank them. I briefed the president earlier this morning before I came here today. Administrator Bragg and I have talked to him every day before the storm, during the storm, and we'll continue to brief him as we get through this flooding. He's fully committed to helping everyone through the response and the recovery as well. He's made it very clear that we should offer everything we have within the federal family. Very grateful for his leadership and for his forward leaning. He's been very quick to meet the requests from the state, whether that's an emergency deck or a disaster deck, and we appreciate his quick action. Later today, I'm going to survey, or see if I can survey, some of the damage myself. We want to be sure that we're not in the way of active response, but hope I will get out to Kingston to see firsthand what the floodwaters are doing and what the communities might be facing. And just quickly, I want to end with, please, everyone, this continues to be very dangerous. So please listen to your local officials. Please stay put. Do not return home until you are told to do so by local officials. Do not get in the water. The water can seem very safe. It is not. It can be full of hazardous materials. It can be electrified in some case. There could be currents. It is not safe to get in the water. Please do not do so. And in terms of when you do get home, check on your neighbors. This is a neighbor help neighbor situation, as the North Carolinians know so well. So when you do get home, call your neighbor, make sure everyone in your community has what they need. And I always like to end with thanks to DHS, FEMA, and the Coast Guard for everything they're doing. We greatly, greatly appreciate the dedicated men and women of the department. This is what they do. They do it well. They will continue to be here with the community throughout the recovery, but I thank them all for everything they do day to day to protect our homeland. So with that, I think we're going to take a few questions, if we can. Yes, sir.
Given the pace of some of these large storms that we're feeling, we need to start thinking differently about how often they're going to happen, how often we should expect them to happen, and how we go about recovering from them.
So, we were just talking about this just before. I think what we need to do as an environment or a community is really focus on pre-hazard mitigation. Because part of your question goes to how do we recover more quickly and more efficiently? It's by anticipating before the event. So At DHS, we're certainly looking through all of our grant programs, all of our other assistance programs to get that training, get those resources, get those tools out to the communities before the hazard occurs so that we can mitigate any damage. Other than that, we're continuing to improve the modeling. I think you've seen some very impressive modeling in this particular event. The flood inundation maps are amazing compared to where we were even last year. So it's a technology fix, it's a tool, but it's also making sure that the money gets to the right place at the right time, and we know we can get more out of that money when we do it in advance. Yes, ma'am.
So you talk about getting the money to the right place in the right time, but is there enough money to handle a disaster of this scope and of the scope of the disasters that we've been seeing over the past few years?
So we continue, as you know, the way we kind of look at this is it's federally supported, state managed, locally executed. So we do take all the requests from the state and localities and then we try to meet them. Congress kicks in, as you know, if the money that we have in the disaster relief fund is not sufficient through supplemental appropriations. We'll continue to make sure that that process works as quickly as possible. But yes, we have to continue to make sure that the money is there when it's needed. Any other questions? Yes.
Do you know yet when the president will be here?
He will be here as soon as it is safe to be here. We want to make sure that, as you know, we don't want to disrupt any life-saving operations, so as soon as he can this week. Yes.
There have been some reports of ICE agents out in certain eastern North Carolina communities. Are they out helping the recovery efforts, or are they doing some enforcement?
So I'm not sure of any particular location, but generally right now all of DHS is focused on the response and recovery. There is an emergency support function that includes law enforcement. So all law enforcement at DHS, which includes ICE, is contributing to that effort to the extent that it's needed and requested by the state. Yes.
Has Bragg belonged to visit or heard the agency? Do you guys still have confidence in his visit?
Absolutely. Now, I have full confidence in all FEMA leadership. We are blessed to have very experienced emergency managers, and we'll continue to look forward to his good leadership and guidance. Yes, ma'am.
We have been hearing from some residents in Wilmington in particular today, some of our reporters who were there, asking that question, where's FEMA?
So as you know, FEMA will be wherever it is requested to be as soon as they are requested to be there. We have about 300 people on the ground now. As soon as it is safe to go in, we will. The Coast Guard is very actively looking at the conditions of the port in Wilmington, so we hope to work with the captain of the port to get the port back open. We're doing flyovers, as you know. We have a lot of air ops up, but FEMA will be there wherever within the state that our state partners request that we be to help them, support them.
Last question. And once FEMA does get onto the ground, what is the first step?
So first we've got the life-saving mission, as you know. And then after that, it's really what the state, I'm not trying to defer the question, but it's what the state asks for. I want to be very clear. We do not proactively determine what is needed. We look to the state. So maybe I could turn it to one of our partners to see what they might think is needed.
So we'll be doing preliminary damage assessments and going through the counties and working with our local jurisdictions to ensure that we gather up all the information to support our disaster declaration. That's the first thing. Of course, there's many other things.
All right. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. Stay safe.
We've just been watching from the State Emergency Operations Center in Raleigh, the nation's Homeland Security Secretary, Kirstjen Nielsen. She is in town from Washington, keeping an eye on things. She says that she's shaking hands there with other FEMA representatives who are here. And also Mike Sprayberry, our emergency manager for North Carolina, was there at that news conference. And she says she's going to get an aerial view and try to survey some of the damage here as soon as possible. She says she's hoping to get down toward Kinston and Lenoir County this afternoon. But it is interesting to see the nation's Homeland Security Secretary here on the ground, coordinating with those state officials and seeing what we need here in North Carolina and making sure we're getting the resources from Washington.
So nothing is held up and things happen in an orderly fashion and quickly the way they should. We also have an update from Wake County Schools. We've received information that they will operate on a regular schedule tomorrow, Tuesday, September 18th, and that they are appreciating your patience as they make sure that every campus is as safe as possible. And they also have adjusted their weather makeup plan. So depending on whether your child is in a year-round school or a traditional calendar school, you may want to check to see how those weather makeup